fill them with alcohol, hang out, do nothing, and then little or big hangovers Monday morning back to work. That's England. That's the one common thing between us and England. Only their weekends. I have a daughter this age, like my youngest is 6 now. They have not seen me for a year now. My daughter told me that, Daddy, I forgot how it feels to hug you. I hear this from my wives every single day. Is it worth it? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Even you were not worth it. Worth what? The formula is simple. If you have to break a mold of 2 billion people, it takes less than 0.1% to make that crack. So we did the numbers. When I say 20,000 people, there's a number. There's a reason. This is not like a haphazard. Let's just start with 20,000. So Prince Karim Aga Khan stands up and he drinks from a glass just like this of water. Like this. He puts it on the dais. And he says, you know how Israel is made? Israel was made just like Bitcoin. 83% of all Jewish community is in its own business. Jews don't go for odd jobs. Why? Gate set तो ये community ऐसी है जहाँ पे पुलिस का इंटर होना भी औखा है क्योंकि इनके अपने जिरगे हैं. गेट सेट में यहूदियों का अपना जिरगा है. वो बाय द तोरा फैसला करते हैं. उनको पता है इंग्लैंड की अदालतों ने तोरा से फैसला करना ही नहीं. And I was reading my people's history from where I come from. I come from this country called Pakistan. For the 4,000 years of this geographical place, never in the 4,000 years, not even once, the brown people came together as a single community. People who do not know, let me tell you something. Unless your kids become missionaries, this community is not coming together. Hayyal and Falah is a Muslim connection. I'm calling your daughters and your sons to the Masjid. And they're going to be doing tasks and projects. They're going to be connected to Americans and Canadians and the French and the Spanish Muslim kids of their age and their gender. Send them to your local Masjid. Audit the program I'm giving them. Vet it. Validate it. Go bring any Barelvi, Deobandi, Ahl Hadith or any Shia or Sunni scholar. If they find anything wrong with that, don't send your kids. So science actually tells the whole human being of where to move. Now quantum computer is going to set the tone for wealth. Abdullah bin Abbas is a pure physicist. I'll prove it to you. Ali bin Abi Talib, pure mathematician. So my objective is simple. The financial capital, the moral capital, the mental capital, and the political capital. So be better, make politicians. وَأَعِدُّ لَهُمْ مَسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ. They better gather the force now. If you cannot connect our kids, then I'm sorry. We are the problem. Aisha radiallahu anha says that the first 8 years, Allah Azza wa Jal never revealed anything except of the Day of Judgment. As soon as the wahy used to come, Arab used to start doing it. One time when the alcohol was banned, he said the alcohol has been banned now. Alcohol, it's haram now. Sound went into the ear. They, instead of just taking that sip down, they started putting their fingers in to throw up whatever alcohol there was. And they said, did you know that the ayah, Surah Ahzab, ayah 59 has been revealed, that every woman has to cover her face and do the hijab. And this woman told her husband, he couldn't find his wife. And where did my wife go? And she was hiding under a big stone. And she said, unless you cover me, do not let anybody come near the rock. Once the 8-year training program was done, these are the effects on human minds and brains and hearts. We are going to begin proceedings. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. You guys are all from Newcastle here. Newcastle, all locals. Okay. What's the scene in Newcastle? Like, how many Muslims do we have? Anybody knows? Most amount of Jews living out of Israel is Gateshead. Did you know that? Yeah. So how come you knew that and you do not know how many Muslims living in Newcastle? So Muslim girls in Newcastle, do they pray in the masjid? Yeah, that's not how a masjid is supposed to work. You're not supposed to be in separate halls for masjid, ladies. Yeah. See, my problem is not just the fact that there are no women in masjids, especially Pakistani women or Indian women. My problem is that we look at life differently, and that's why most of the problems, we're designed to lose. We are designed to lose. And that's the problem I cannot let my daughters and my sons inherit. And you'll be amazed, I'm sitting in the masjid saying this, but the way we look at Islam is at the core of why we're designed to lose. The way we look at Islam. If we just look at our religion from an angle which the Sahabas looked at, then you'll be amazed that that's a totally different religion. That was a definition designed to win. Now, let me give you an example. My question was about whether Muslim Pakistani women are coming to the masjid. But they're not, even though it's Newcastle. What do you call it? Newcastle? Newcastle, right? Yeah. Not Newcastle. It's the castle. Yes. Newcastle. Okay. Okay. See, I was a little boy in America, and I saw a very big difference. I mean, every boy notices that. Little boy, what's his name? Who was taking pictures of me? What's his name? Why don't you just tell me? He's not going to say Idris, right? No, what's his name? Idris. Idris, oh, okay. So he's what, 5, 4? 5, he's 5. Okay, yeah, I was about this age when I remember my first memories. So I saw, I mean, every boy observes, because, you know, we obviously I was a minority in America. You guys are a minority here. And you see there's a difference between my people and these people. And as a little boy, I'm telling you, because, you know, I was in the middle of 3 brothers, and I still am in the middle of 3 brothers. So I used to talk to my boys, my friends, my brothers, and of course we were the only Pakistanis in the area, so that was quite a topic that I used to like interview people, my friends. So I'll tell you why I'm telling you the story. That things have not changed ever since I was a little boy. I went to Toronto, I worked there, I've spent a lot of time in Canada, like, you know, got married there, have kids there. And I know this is my first draft of the English culture, so I'm just going to ask you just to confirm, even though I know the answer, because it's just about everywhere, that you see the Caucasian woman, you see the African American woman, you see the Chinese woman on the street running every morning. You see all of these men on the street running or cycling every morning, every evening. You just do not ever see a Pakistani woman running. So it's not just the fact that you girls are not making it to the masjid or boys. You guys are not making it anywhere. You guys are just not active. We are all designed not to be active. We look at life differently. And the ideal life of a Pakistani man is that I need some friends and I need my kind of pub, which is not going to be alcohol, but I need a pub sort of a situation where I talk all night, and that's ideal. I got everything. My kind of friends, my kind of place, my kind of tea. And you know what they're going to talk about? They're going to talk about global politics. They're going to talk about Nawaz Sharif. They're going to, and that's it. That's the bubble that we're going to live in tomorrow morning. And then, of course, we're going to talk about money. And the Muslim woman, I have taken so much sample, just could not get a single definition of what is the ideal life. Men, you ask any Desi man, he'll be like, oh my, he knows what I'm talking about. That the ideal life is so that I wouldn't have to do anything. Now, you think it's just with us? No. You're in England. You see what happens every Friday evening. Everybody in England breaks off from their routine just to fill them with alcohol, hang out, do nothing, and then have, you know, little or big hangovers Monday morning back to work. That's England. Now, that's the one common thing between us and England. Only their weekends. That's the one common thing. Their weekends are common with us. And I'm not here comparing people. What I'm saying is, what happens to us on Monday till Friday that we want to keep continuing this weekend cycle, and we're yearning for it. Every single boy in Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, every Muslim I know from Arabia as well. And I've had a very good fortune of knowing most of my friends were Arabians in the North American life that I spent. We have this weird definition of Islam, and that definition has become a cancer now. I was a boy, did not know the price of this definition, because you know what? Everybody likes to do nothing. Everybody likes to have fun. Everybody likes to have no worries, specifically money. Your sports cars, your glittering gadgets, and your homes, and your vacation once or twice a year. I mean, who'd say no to that? But when you grow old, you find out, I'm not talking about old as in 80-year-old. When you grow in your 20s, you find out that it's not just a demand on Muslims. It's not the demand of the Quran only, but it's a natural demand coming from within, not to be inactive, not to become a sloth, and find your actual definition in the progress. And you make sure that you keep working towards this forward motion, towards this end goal. Most of the people do not have an end goal. Quran gives us an end goal. So there are only two kind of people in the world, you'll see. One who found that, yes, that is the answer. That is the life. And one who have not found it yet, they have not realized this yet, and they still want to go for, oh my God, I want to do nothing. I just want to lie down and just sleep and wake up on my own time and do not have to worry about anything. That is the two kind of people. And when I see human beings in gathering, I am just trying to identify what's going to happen right after this session. Because this session is going to be attended by either of these two people. Most of the people will go and do nothing. Some of the people will have an epiphany. Literally, epiphany. They'll be like, now I might have to literally change the very clothes I'm in as well, not just my life, not just my decisions. Even these clothes are tainted with that philosophy. You need to understand, this session is arranged by a girl, a woman, not a boy, not a man. When that sort of activity is going on in your heart and your mind, it doesn't take a girl or a boy, it just takes a realization of a human mind. It aligns with itself with whatever philosophy that is activating them. In this case, the Quran was activating her. She got her family in, she got the whole city, she's making sure everything happens, literally from where the camera is going to be placed to who's going to show up, how many people, like literally. So I am sitting here, and I knew, and of course you knew, whoever is here, that there's not going to be many people here because it's a masjid we're going to. No one's going to be here. No one comes in even for prayer. Why would you come here for, anything other than the prayer? So, if you look at the campuses, which is the masjid or the church or the university or the concert halls or the pubs, these are all campuses. You'll find that masjid is the most empty campus in the planet right now. That is the building that never gets filled up. And I'm in Gateshead. I'm in Gateshead. I'm literally in Israel right now. Literally. Gateshead. So ironic, huh? So why I'm talking about Israel is that it was their prime minister, the woman, who officially quoted that the day Muslims are going to fill up, she's saying that, I'm not me, that the number of Muslims, here is the microphone. No. Is it better? Take it out. Oh, it was too loud.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was.
Ask people if it's better without them.
Yeah, I think you can hear me.
Yeah.
Mohsin? Yeah. So, where was I? Yeah, so she said, if Muslims, the only thing I fear that the Muslims are going to be in number where they fill up their masjids on the Friday prayer. If that number amounts to or is equal to the people filling up their masjid on the Fajr prayer, that's the day of our destruction. And it's not a Muslim who said that. And I'm not talking about people here. I don't really care. You know, I'm oblivious to what these people think and why they would do whatever they're doing right now. I don't really care. Because it's a tiny little minority. I know the biggest problem in the world is Palestine and Israel right now. I know that. But it's not a Jewish problem. It's a Muslim problem. And this is the problem. Look at here. Look at us. I mean, why would a Muslim coming from thousands of miles away to Newcastle already assume that no one's going to show up? And you know what? Even if everybody in Newcastle showed up. Everybody showed up. It's like Tariq Jameel coming in. Everybody shows up. But that category of Muslims who's not going to do anything after that session is still 99 to 1. Nothing's going to happen. So let's address the actual cause. Let's not keep complaining and keep whining about, oh, Muslims don't do this. Well, we're able-bodied adults. We're able-bodied adults. We have our own worldview. We know how things work. We know how the human mind operates. We've been there. So the root cause is very simple. We literally define life in such a way that we are going to lose. We're designed to lose. We are designed to lose. And it's not about defining Islam only. It's defining life. Why are we here? We're not here to rest, even though everybody wants to rest. We're not here to have fun. I'm sorry. Everybody wants to have fun. That's coming from wherever we came from, where Adam alayhi salam was born. These are the two constants there. Allah in the Quran says that whenever this guy gets any kind of resources, he starts piling them up. And then he starts to assume naturally that this is going to be forever. جَمَعَ مَالًا وَعَدَّدَ يَحْسَبُ أَنَّ مَالَهُ أَخْلَدَ. This man thinks that this is forever. So, if it were not the dollars, the pound country, if it were not the pounds, we would never come out of the house. It's our pounds that run out. That's why we just move out of the house and just do something, collect it, come back, and it's like, yeah, do nothing. So what I'm saying is, if the British pound sterling is making us move so fast, so well, that means they've defined their system right. We've defined our lives wrong. So let's just assess. Let's assess. What can I say sitting behind this table? What can I say? What can any man say to human beings, women and men, that is going to change the definition of your lives? You're going to actually, literally change your clothes as well, not just your lifestyles. That from today on, I'm going to have a totally different perspective, and I'm going to literally do whatever, even if I have to die for it. No more of looking at this planet the way I was looking before the session. What can I say? I know I'm not trying to examine you. I'm actually asking. I need help. What can any man say? What can I do? Now, you know what? I have a life as well. Let me just reminisce a little. I have kids, wives. I have a business. I have a few companies I run. And every time I move out of the company, you know, most of them are in Pakistan, so they just shut down. They shut down. Like literally, they shut down. It's like vacation time, and my consumers and customers, because they know who I am and where I am, they keep pounding me that, you know what, you're not making an honest living. I'm telling you this right now. My kids, like you have kids, I have a daughter this age, like my youngest is 6 now. I have 4 kids. They have not seen me for a year now. Literally a year. Okay. My daughter told me yesterday that, Daddy, I forgot how it feels to hug you. And she was not happy about this. She was just being human. She was just saying whatever she was feeling. And I know, and I said, I know you have. Obviously, I could not show her my tears. And I hear this from my wives every single day. Is it worth it? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Even you were not worth it. Even you, my kids are not worth it. Worth what? Worth the price. The price of the Quran. No one is worth it. Unless we make that conscious choice and be ready to be called fools. Literally fools. Sometimes psychos, nutcases. Sometimes ill. I've been called ill. That something's wrong with you. This is not going to happen. Nothing's going to work. Pakistani nahi sunte. Kuch nahi karna. Who the hell are you to say anything? And then after the ridicule comes the fight. After ridicule comes the fight. It's the normal stage. Everybody goes through it. Not just Muslims. Everyone's going to go. Whoever's going to challenge the status quo is going to face the same steps of resistance. Then the fight started. 2 years ago, the fight started. Then my own family started withering. And I'm not here crying about this. I'm telling you, as a price, I started with me telling you all what I told my wife. That even you are not worth it. No one's worth it. I'm not worth it. My kids are not worth it. The only thing that matters is when the Prophet ﷺ went to the first day of his movement, we all know what he gave up. He gave up everything. Literally everything. Now see, I don't know why we don't experience that day of his ﷺ's life. We don't want to experience this. We love our Prophet only because Allah Azza wa Jal put that love in our hearts for him. And that's the grace of our Prophet ﷺ. Otherwise, if it were up to us, we would have stopped loving our own Prophet as well. Because God knows we never think about him. We never ever think about him as a man, as a father, as a struggler of a movement, as a guy who went through all the problems. We never. Let's be honest. So, you cannot claim to love me. You never thought about me till yesterday. I'm not going to believe that you love me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's common sense. And I'm not going to say, sir, what's your name? What's the black jacket? You just met me? Zaham. If I say I love you, you're not going to believe me. You'll be like, dude, you don't even know me. You know? So, I'm telling you my own story today. In the middle of Gateshead, that the day I read the Seerah, I was trained the Seerah. I was not taught the Seerah. I was trained it. I mean, this man, a Yemeni, he's up at the Masjid, right? It's not a Masjid, but he made a Masjid out of his own house. It was his whole house. It was a library. So he said, you know what? I'm going to read to you a story. Tell me, what do you have to say about this? So I was 12, 13. I used to comment a lot, all sort of things. And then he used to smack me around. Like, this is what you got out of it? He used to send me home and come back until I gave the right answers. I was not going to go through the next chapter. Then the next day, I was afraid this guy's going to come up with a story, and now I need to come up with an angle which this Arab is going to actually appreciate me for the, yeah, I got it. So it took me 3.5, maybe 4 years to go through the Seerah. And I didn't know I was going through the Seerah. I was thinking, Sheikh, you guys, what you think in Newcastle, Sheikh Saab, khutbah, sermon, gotta put your head down, listen, get out. Everybody does that. So this guy was like making me go to the Seerah. And then there were 2 boys and there were 3 boys. And there were never more than 4 boys. Some days there were 4, some days there were just me. And one day I went there and then there was just this couple of books, 3 to be exact, and nobody behind the table. And a letter. And I read that letter, cannot forget that day. After that, I never stopped teaching Seerah. So there's a time that a man has to make that decision. I'm telling you. The one thing that you guys need to understand. Now, are you still waiting for the screen? No?
At this point, it's not going to show up.
Okay. That's a formidable conclusion based on any facts.
I haven't had any more news, so.
Okay. It's all right. I don't need the screen. I mean, if there were a screen, I'll give you there's a whole corpus of my agenda and the way I have actually tried to convince your neurons inside your brains of how to build up this whole movement now. Now, we come up with a campaign called Hayyal Falah. This campaign is very simple. The campaign is that when the Prophet ﷺ said, give glad tidings, basharat de do, khushkhabari suna do, to who? To the people who habitate the mosques, who gather up in the masjids. You need to understand. I started this session with a campus analysis. Pubs, football grounds, cricket stadiums, music halls, concerts, universities. Every campus is filled with human beings except the masjid. And we are there. We are at the concerts. We are at the clubs. We are at the stadiums. It's Muslims I'm talking about. And we never gather up in the masjid. So what we did was we started the campaign of not just coming into the masjid and saying hi, hellos and making friends, because that's not going to last. We came up with a campaign to make sure that 3 things happen. Number 1, every Muslim in the world comes into a single task and project. They got to pick whatever part of the task, they got to fulfill the demand of the project, and in doing so, they're going to require a lot of help because that's how the projects are designed. That's the theory. So as soon as he's going to ask for help, you're going to get help from someone from here in Newcastle. You're going to require someone from Houston who's going to be your age, your gender. He's going to make you help. He's going to help you go through your task so that you can actually finish it up, and then you guys can get connected and become one organism. One organism. Every Muslim from 15 years of age till 25. There is a curriculum based on 3 core objectives. Number 1 objective is that everyone has to be together. Unless you realize that you're part of a family, you are going to do whatever it takes to make sure you break that family. That's how psychology works. I'm going to repeat that. Unless you know that you're part of a family, you are going to do whatever it takes so that you can survive, irrelevant of whether the family survives or not. So much so that you're going to feed off of their failures. That's how we're doing it. That's literally how we're living lives right now. So, when the Prophet ﷺ said, my ummah is like a body, a single body, we just didn't really know how to experience that hadith, that instruction. We just didn't want to do it because it takes a lot of sacrifice. Because if I all of a sudden tell you, what was your name, sir? I couldn't really pronounce it, so.
Zaham.
Zaham. How many brothers do you have?
1.
See? It's designed to say that. It's designed to say one. And I'll tell you why. Because if I tell him, Zaham, you got to take care of 2 billion of your brothers, the first thing you're going to ask, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. I do not have enough brains to take care of 2 billion people, 2 billion brothers. Scattered all over the world, I'll tell you after that. Now, I know you're not going to be able to have the money or the chops to do this. So what you need is 1.5 billion more brothers to help you, right? Now, that's what the Prophet ﷺ was saying, that unless you know what your brothers are going through, how are you going to actually feel the pain? Because he says, my ummah is like a single body. Any part of that body is hurting, rest of the body starts hurting. Now, you need to understand, we are designed not to take these hadiths seriously. We're designed not to take them seriously. We need to break that design. No speaker is breaking that design of the Muslim audience. I'm going to recite the Quran in front of you. Forget me. Tariq Jamil is going to come and recite the Quran in front of you. 30 minutes later after the session, nothing's going to happen. Because no one's talking about that design, that mold that we're in right now. That mold has to be broken. And I'll tell you, I know the formula. The formula is simple. If you have to break a mold of 2 billion people, it takes less than 0.1% to make that crack. So we did the numbers. We need 20,000 boys and girls to do it simultaneously, and the mold will crack. The mold will crack. So I know I'm not going to get 20,000 Muslims in Islamabad. That's where I'm from. Heard the name of the city? Islamabad. Who's from India? Who's from India here? What's your name, sir?
Bilal.
Bilal. In Bilal Masjid. Bilal in Bilal Masjid. Islamabad is the capital of my country. That's where I'm from. What goes to your mind when I say Islamabad? No, the city. Give me what people are doing there. You know, the biggest masjid after the harams is in Islamabad. Did you know that? Yeah. That's what we're known for, by the way, man. Islamabad. You know, everybody who's not from Islamabad but from Pakistan, when I say Islamabad, their mind just paints that Faisal Masjid. Okay? You know how many people come to Faisal Masjid for Fajr prayer? 10. The masjid, that is the brand identity of my city, which is the biggest in the world, almost. In Islamabad, the name of the city is Islamabad. You know what I'm saying? Nobody goes. So there's a mold that we're in. And mommies and daddies, you're not going to be able to break that mold. I'm sorry. It's not possible. So I'm not going to tell you, oh, you know what, you do this and this Friday evenings, this and that Monday mornings, this on Wednesdays, and don't worry, your child is going to become Abdullah bin Masood. That's not how it works. I'll tell you something. There will be blood. There will be money. There will be screams coming out of your own bodies if you break that mold. So no one's going to do that. Hell, if I tell you that I give you a job right now, about 250,000 pounds a year, right now, you won't be able to come out of your mold that you're in right now to take that job. The mold is that strong. So this time, I'm actually telling you that no money, but a lot of effort. You think you're going to break that mold? No one's going to break that mold, even if I pay you for it. Even if I pay you for it, you're not going to get that mold broken. So what are we going to do? Do we have an answer? Do we have a solution? Yes, we have. And by the way, it's not my solution. It's a solution that is designed inside our human systems. When a group comes together and they perform certain things, the definitions of change, life, definition of success, definition of their philosophy changes. So, are we going to come together? No, we're not. Don't worry. So I know. I'm not working on my plan A. This is a contingency. You know what a contingency is, right? Newcastle. What's a contingency? It's a hum. It's a hum. Contingency. English.
No idea.
First time you heard the word contingency? But you did hear the word. You never asked whoever is saying it, what did it mean, brother? That's the mold. Okay? Contingency is my plan B. So if my plan doesn't work, what's my go-to strategy? That's contingency, right? So what's the contingency? Contingency is simple. I cannot wait for my old folks to die out because the mold is still there. The new kids are going to go into that cocoon, and that cocoon is going to, make the new kids go into the size and shape of the mold. So what to do? It's simple. We take the 15-year-old till the 25. I don't know, I'm stretching it because the 25-year-old already is in the mold, okay? But the 15-year-old cannot be in the mold because it's not psychologically possible. Don't ask me why, because that's what's in the presentation. It's going to too long. It's going to take too long. So what we do is we take the 15-year-old to the 25. That's a 10-year-old slice of the Muslim 20 billion community. That's a 10-year-old slice. Everybody with me? Okay. So these 10-year-old, this slice, is going to move around inside the masjids in these kind of halls, wherever, big or small, doesn't matter. We're going to put a little screen in the masjid, which we were about to do here, and I am going to get, inshallah, I already have them, the faculty, which is going to train them on 3 core skills. Those skills require, because this is not a teaching program, this is a training program. So these skills are going to give them money. Okay, so I come bearing gifts. You know what I'm saying? Christmas time, eh? I come bearing gifts. Money. I'll tell you something, because whenever I'm going to ask you, why are you still in the mold? It's like, yeah, I feel it. I am stifled, can't breathe. But kya karoon, bill dene hote hain, sir. I'm an immigrant here. Okay, what were you doing in Pakistan? Out of the mold? No, sir, I brought the mold from there. I'm here to actually strengthen the mold. I'm going to pound it out. Pound means pound sterling. So, we are going to make sure that the 15 to 25-year-old are going to get through three skills. When I say money, all of a sudden, everyone's going to say, okay, how? Well, the one problem that Muslims are going through is that you guys, overseas Muslims, are under the extreme burden, which a Pakistani local is not. Okay, they're going to hear this video or hear me say that, they're going to be cursing me right now, but they're not under that kind of economical pressure, okay, because the system allows escape routes. System allows them to, that's why Pakistanis don't work, okay? But England does not let you not work. It binds you down to the contracts and it makes you go through things, and that trains you. That's why you're better. I'm sorry to all the Pakistanis that live in Islamabad. I apologize. But English Muslims, American Muslims, European Muslims, they're trained by the system to perform, and their IQs are better now. They have a bigger worldview, and they can understand what I'm saying. So what is the problem they're suffering from? You guys are suffering from is that pressure of getting that white collar job, that 100,000 a year mark, or maybe more, so that you can know that whatever struggle that you went through, or your fathers went through, or your grandfathers went through, now you don't have to, continue the vicious circle, and now you can actually stabilize a home, a family, and a structure is there, and now you can think about education. So whoever came to England in the 60s or the 70s or the 40s or the 50s, they knew that their grandkids are going to go to Cambridge or Harvard or Oxford or wherever. They're going to drive a cab. They're going to have to sweat it out. They're going to pay the hard price, and they did. I want you to understand, if you're going to pay that same price, something really is wrong with our mold. Because you gave up Islam. You need to understand that. Islam cannot be practiced the way, Sahabas are practicing in the current worldview. So you were like, yeah, you know what, we're going to stabilize this money problem, and our grandkids are going to lift off Islam. That's what I'm assuming. That's why you're coming to the masjids, right? You like Islam, I'm assuming. So you did the grunt work. Now, if your sons and your daughters are going to do the grunt work, I'm sorry. You are the problem then. Because you were supposed to save them from this problem. I'm telling you this right now, you know more than I do. In India and Pakistan, no one is doing, you would never have done the job you're doing in England. Okay? So the lifestyle was better. You left that to come here to make sure your kids go through a higher education, quality of education, and a different experience of this planet. Now I'm trying to channel that back into Islam. It is that simple. So these struggles, I want you to go through struggles. Okay, go through these struggles. Give me those 15-year-olds inside your local masjid. Send them to your local masjid. Audit the program I'm giving them. Audit it, vet it, validate it. Go bring any Barelvi, Deobandi, Ahl Hadith, or any Shia or Sunni scholar. Tell them to go through it. If they find anything wrong with that, don't send your kids. Okay, so you need to understand, I'm calling Muslims to the masjid. I'm calling your daughters and your sons to the masjid. And they're going to be doing tasks and projects. They're going to be connected to Americans and Canadians and the French and the Spanish Muslim kids of their age and their gender. And they're going to come to get to know each other and get to raise their IQs so that they can understand that they are not a single sibling of their own mommy and daddy. They are a part of thousands of people, their age, and they can understand, they speak the same language, they go through the same kind of political and social struggles, and they can equip themselves to come together into a single blockchain. Now, I'm assuming you know what the word blockchain means. If you do not know the word contingency, okay. Blockchain you don't know, then that's a problem. So, what's the blockchain?
Blockchain is basically like a chain coming together,
To do what?
making blocks. It's like the way Bitcoin.
The way Bitcoin, yeah, see? I see blockchain, everybody says Bitcoin. So tell the sisters loudly, how does a blockchain work and how does it strengthen the Bitcoin? Bitcoin, you said Bitcoin, I didn't.
It's basically one big part of something, like it's a whole part, like it's all together basically. It can't separate it. I don't know how to explain it properly.
Even though you will have some bitcoins, right? Yeah. And you still don't know how it works. See, now the problem with Muslims is this. Zaham, certain people who know about stuff come together and they invest, and they, without even any index, it does not have an index. Bitcoin it's not regulated by a single body, right? It's just some people calling this a $1 million bottle, and whoever comes to agree with that, and someone's going to buy it for $1 million as well. They agree to it. They're their own index. Okay? And this starts to get accepted because enough number of people come together to call this under a single definition. Whoever calls this a single definition becomes a member of the chain. Okay? And since it's in white only, so it's a blockchain. Okay? You can't just be, oh, you know what? I'm part of your chain. No. You got to believe in the core, the definition, the philosophy, and the mechanics. You believe in that? And now you got to put your money where your mouth is. That's the blockchain. Now, again, I'm going to talk about Gateshead. I just can't get this out of my head. You know how Israel is made? Israel was made just like Bitcoin. You are all carrying Bitcoins, even if you don't want to admit it, it's okay. Israel is made just literally a spitting image of the whole mechanical structure of the Bitcoin. Somebody came up with, yeah, you know what, we're going to call that part Israel. Whoever agrees, come together. People with money started coming together. No, got to put your money where your mouth is. People started giving money. Enough people with enough influence, with number comes influence, right? We started calling them a lobby, even though anything that brings people together and money is a lobby. But these people had a purpose. So did Bitcoiners. Their purpose was big cars. They didn't come in Israel for their shiny cars. Okay? They used the book of God, Azza wa Jal. Okay? Literally same mechanics, same process, same methodology, and people who believe come together. This dude wrote a book about this called Der Jutenstaat. Read it. It's a 64-pager. It's a booklet, not even a book. Of course, it's a big version now. He just wrote 64 pages. Der Jutenstaat. You know who that guy is? Theodor Herzl. You need to understand. That's how it starts. Did he train them into it? No. He just knew they were believers. And you know what the last generation of this generation, the generation who came up with this idea, their last generation, you know where they were living? Under the sewers of Germany. They were forced to live there, and they were only allowed to come on the road, do their grocery, go back into the sewers on Thursdays. In one generation, they came up with this blockchain. Amazing job, okay? And we are 2 billion. We're not under the sewers. We are some under mental sewers, which makes us believe that we cannot do anything. And it's okay. That's the mold. I get it. That's the mold. But what I want to understand is, he never asked, Theodor Herzl in Poland and Austria never asked his fellow Jews, do you believe in the day of judgment? No, he never. He never had to, because he knew people did. I am a Muslim. I will ask, especially the mothers, do you actually believe in the day of judgment? What does that mean? لِكُلِّ قَوْلِ حَقِيقَةٌ. This is a hadith. When Prophet ﷺ used to hear anybody make a claim, he used to say, لِكُلِّ قَوْلِ حَقِيقَةٌ. Every claim has some truth. What is the truth to your claim? So, brothers and sisters, what do you mean when you say you believe in the day of judgment? What does that mean? What does that actually mean? You think, you know what most Muslims believe? Most Muslims believe Day of Judgment is going to come in and I'm going to be repaid for whoever did wrong to me. I mean, we are so selfish that we think the Day of Judgment is being called for us. You know, I'm actually designed to think that the Day of Judgment, the universe is going to be destroyed, remade for Sahil Adeem. That, okay, whoever did wrong to Sahil Adeem, come together. This is the Deen to make sure Sahil Adeem gets repaid his debts. I mean, otherwise, it would have been burning me every single day. I shouldn't be going to sleep so sound if I actually believe in the Day of Judgment. How on earth am I putting myself to sleep if I know that everything in the universe will be, destroyed, remade, and everything will be in front of everybody? I should not be able to sleep. I should be actually looking into making a lot of things happen. How strong the mold is, you know how it starts? It starts by Iblis, literally Iblis, making sure that he plays the one game that he said, I'm going to make that one game happen. That I am going to dilute the definition and the effect of the Day of Judgment. So, without you going back into the mold, ask me questions now. I didn't give you the full program. I gave you the philosophy of the program. I gave you the mechanics. I didn't give you the program. Tell me, if I invite Muslims from Newcastle to this masjid on a Saturday and Sunday, because I know you have this education system, sucking your kids on from Monday to Friday, making them go to school, learning that whatever they're learning, it's okay. On Saturdays and Sundays, do you think Muslims are going to make it to the masjid on Saturdays and Sundays for a couple of hours, maybe 3, and go through a connection? It's called a Muslim connection. Okay? Hayyal al-Falah is a Muslim connection. That your sons and daughters should be connected to sons and daughters of American Muslims, Canadian Muslims, European and Australian Muslims. They're already giving me masjids, alhamdulillah. Okay? You think you can send your sons and daughters there? Can you? So I'm going to repeat what Prophet said. لِكُلِّ قَوْلِ حَقِيقَةٌ. For every claim there is a truth. What is the truth to this claim? What could be the problem? Let's brainstorm this for just 5 minutes, okay? What could stop you guys from sending your daughters and sons to the masjid? I'm going to tell you what the actual problem is. Don't worry. I'm just asking you to brainstorm. Yes, sir. What's your name? No, the front, right. The guy in the front, right? Yeah. Asif. Yes, sir.
People not having time.
On Saturdays and Sundays.
Some people have to work.
Those 15-year-olds have to go to the job.
Like people who have to bring 15-year-old to the mosque. Like they are not taking the responsibility to bring them to the mosque and pick them back. I mean, as adult.
See how the grip of the system is? You're right about this, brother. You're right. This system has made sure you're inside the clutch. So what can a 15-year-old, I mean the closest masjid, how many masjids are there in what is this? This is Newcastle, right? I mean, this is Newcastle. Okay. Not part of, okay, this is what Newcastle is. It's not Durham or any, yeah. So how many masjids are in Newcastle?
Probably 10.
10 masjids. 10 masjids, okay.
Everybody has their own sects. Different sects.
Yeah, this is a sect masjid, right? Every masjid is a sect masjid, a section. Section. Yeah, okay. Okay. So do they recite this ayah in the masjid? وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. Do they recite this ayah? وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. Do not distinguish from within Muslims. وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. Okay, so 10 masjids. Okay. maybe even more, maybe 13, 14, maybe. So if there was a central masjid and we were running a program in just one masjid in the city, your reason would have been on the table. But this is not on the table anymore because there's a masjid closer to wherever you are. I mean, it's not like 15 to 25-year-olds are not going to play football or cricket or whatever on their own. You don't drop them every time they go out to play. Why do you have to drop them and pick them from a masjid? Okay, let's solve this. Okay, let's just think of it like a strategy session in Gateshead. Okay? Muslim strategy session. Muslimanon ki sazish. So, you want me to arrange for a commute to and fro from the homes of the Muslim household to masjid. Okay, that's something which I'll factor then. That's not supported. That's not supported. So, but I'll support it. Okay, so we need a lot of money for buses and cars so that Muslim kids can be brought to masjids and taken back. Okay. What else? What else could be a problem? Not having a 15 to, not having a child, not having a kid, not having any niece or nephew or a friend's daughter or son. We're 2 billion and you're missing a Muslim. We're 2 billion everywhere in the world, but you're missing out on a Muslim. You can't find one. Okay. Okay, because you know what, we are. So you're an exception to the rule. Most people have kids. You do not have kids. Do you have wives? Do you have wives? One? See how the system clutches a Muslim? I'm kidding, that was a joke. Yeah, go on. So you don't have enough kids yet. Have more kids, buddy. Yeah. Come on. Get in the game. Yes, sir. So that's not a general problem. Most people have kids. So people, okay, let's just make it easy. People who have kids, what could be the problem? Yes.
Kids on the weekend, they want to have somewhere, to go somewhere where they can have fun.
Fun, yeah, okay.
Then provide them-
You're right. So we're gonna have to add fun. It's already added in the system that I'm coming up with. If it's not gonna be fun, no one's gonna stick. We know that. So don't worry, it's factored in. It is going to have more of a game flavor, so that they would know and they're competing and they're actually enhancing their IQ and skill while they're connecting together. Okay. So my objective is simple: the financial capital, the moral capital, the mental capital, and the political capital. That's my objective for these kids to go into this capital. So if they're not coming together as a blockchain, there is no capital. Okay? So they need to understand how wealth is generated. And if I give you, Zaham, right now, how old are you?
23.
There you go. So if we have one. Okay? If I tell you that whatever product you're going to make, you just have to make sure it's fulfilling the expectation of the global standards of whatever product that you're going to make, or idea, or service. You already have 100,000 customers. You are a millionaire from day one. You just have to come up with a good enough product or a service, right? Now I'm going to give you so many people to come together to brainstorm with you an idea of our product and service as well. And then I'm going to give you a lot of people who are going to help you design that product, and a lot of people who are going to come and manufacture that product or service. Are you not a millionaire yet? You know what I'm saying? That's the power of a blockchain. You understand me? You need to understand, it's not just the Jewish community. Any community that comes together. I'll tell you, I have a glass of water in my hand. Let me reenact this whole scene. Is there a dais here? No. So the Prince Karim Aga Khan, you know this guy? You haven't heard of Prince Karim Aga Khan? Come on. That's a problem. Forget about this. Let's talk about that guy, okay? You really? You haven't heard Prince Karim Aga Khan? He's in England, for God's sakes. Okay. The Aga Khani community? Somebody tell me who he is.
We heard that it was.
You heard? Forget about it. Hearsay.
He's a kind of imam for our Hani community.
There you go. He's almost a Nabi. Okay, almost a Nabi. And I'm not saying that my definition is almost. Yeah, we should begin. So, where were we? Azan. Yes, there's a hum. Yeah, you know why I'm picking on you, right? Yeah, you're in my zone, you know? You're in my zone for 15 to 25. So the azan was given as a gift to a man to be told to everybody. But he did not have the voice for it. So Prophet ﷺ called in another guy, told him that this is how you're going to, loudly recite the azan now. Lesson, you cannot have anything less than the top standards in Islam. Now in the Muslim world, most of the people who are reciting the azan, they're not supposed to be doing that. Because this dude, whoever was doing this, he made plenty of mistakes which are actually a sin in Islam. Any Sahabi would be like, take this guy out right now. Because Umar al-Khattab did that to another man. And he was an Arab who was making some mistakes. Okay? So what I'm trying to tell you is a lesson that when the Jewish community make a product, and when I'm going to be calling in everybody in the blockchain, when you're going to be like, yeah, you know what, Sahil Saab, you have like what, 250,000 Muslims, and they're in my single blockchain, I got to release a product. I'll be like, you know what, come up with the Muslim standard, man. Don't come with the Pakistani standard. You know what I'm saying? So if this guy does not know what kind of, mistakes he's making in the thing that he actually cherishes the most, more than his life, God knows what we'll be doing in our things which we don't even really care about. It's called a standard, which means a merit. Nothing less than this is a merit, right? You know what a merit is, right? You cannot go down from that. That's like the bare minimum. That's the merit. M-E-R-I-T, merit. Okay? So, what I'm saying is, when we talk about the blockchain, we talk about how to get the right standards within the Muslim minds. So they walk with those standards, they talk with those standards, they perform with those standards. Right now there's so much effort that 2 billion people are actually putting in whatever lives that they're actually living in. That's a lot of effort, that's a lot of time. But that's on a standard, it's not going to amount to anything. So we have to start from the merit and raise it to the standard where Muslims can take it to. Okay? Now, I had a lot of slides where I can show you the standards of the Sahabas. That's what I'm, trying to promote. By the way, this whole blockchain thing is free, so it's not a commercial product. But I still need to promote it so that people would know it. I want to give my kid to this campaign. We need to convert all of the Muslims next generation into a single ummah, single community. Okay? So when I was talking about this Prince Aga Khan, Prince Karim Aga Khan was standing on a pulpit in a place where only Aga Khanis attend sessions, right? So Aga Khani community is sitting and listening to his lecture. And he's giving this sermon regularly, and all of a sudden this boy stands up, and his boy is your age. A little less, of course, he's 20 or 18. And he says, you know what, people think and say that the Aga Khanis are a single community. They take care of their own. They care for their own. But I am in this land and I can't even find enough funds to educate myself. And I am having a very tough time trying to do whatever I do, which Muslims are doing every day, to put myself into school and then, do what I aim to do. So Prince Karim Aga Khan stands up and he drinks from a glass just like this of water. Like this. puts it on the dais, and he says to all the people, I need you to bid for this water. And everybody starts bidding for this glass of water. And this boy got $1 million for his education fund from right there in the crowd, from whoever bought that glass of water. That's what I call a community. If there is no Prince Kareem, there is no movement, there is no community. They are so hardline into is this one guy. One guy calling the shots on the community. He goes, they're gone. Now I always ask Muslims, every time that we had our one guy, our Prophet ﷺ should be enough for everybody to come into a single community. Shouldn't he? This man, Prince Kareem, is not even a prophet. He doesn't say that he's a prophet. And look how a single man, a love of one man, brings everybody into a single community. So much so that a boy can stand up and say, I challenge that love, and he gets the reply right there. That, no, you can't challenge the love of this community for the community. Every member, right there. Saham, you tell me, can you claim that any Muslim is going to come and help you whenever you're in need, let alone $1 million? I know you can't. I can't as well. Don't worry. Nobody can. I just don't want that to happen for the next 10 years for our kids. Any Muslim who stands up and says, you know what, this is my problem, at least 20,000 people should come in, because they would be his batchmates. Batch one of Hayyal al-Falah, the campaign that should bring everybody together. But you know how community is made? Community is made when I get to know Zaham. I get to know who you are, where you are, how are you living, what are your problems, what are your strengths as well. That's exactly what Bitcoin does as well. That's exactly what Israel did to the community. I asked a rabbi, like literally I asked him. It's not a video. I mean, he was teaching me in university, okay? So I asked him, how come you guys are, empowering? I mean, what brings you so close to Israel? And how do you give to Israel, and you're empowering and strengthening Israel. And he started laughing, like as if I was cracking a joke. And I said, what's so funny? And he said, you Muslims, you always get it wrong. It is not the Jews who are empowering and strengthening Israel, buddy. It is Israel that is strengthening the Jews. Zaham, can you tell me the meaning of this statement that he just gave me?
Basically, like Israel makes them unite.
What is Israel?
It's a country, obviously.
No, it's not.
It's their purpose, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a purpose. So unless we come together for a purpose, we are never going to become a community. And that's what I call the mold. The mold that we're in right now, you are the enemy in my current mold. Because if you get that job, I'm not going to get that job. You understand me? You're in my lane. I need to overtake you to get to my purpose. Because we have different purposes. That's why I gave you the example of Aga Khan, a community. So you know what? I have seen, I've read books by the dozens. I've read history. And I was reading my people's history from where I come from. I come from this country called Pakistan. And imagine that for the 4,000 years of this geographical place, never in the 4,000 years, not even once, the brown people came together as a single community. Never, even once. We always scatter into different clusters. The non-Muslims, the Africans, the Chinese, the Orientals, the Mongols, the whites, the Caucasians, they all have come together once or twice or many times. They come together, Not for the book of God or God. No. People who don't even believe in God, they come together in the name of honor and, community. They come together. We have never come together. So me knowing that at my age and coming up with this campaign of a single community, and me being a brown man, asking brown men and women, you think that's gonna, I'm actually betting against the 4,000-year-old casino. And the house has always won. And I'm betting against it. You know the phrase, betting against the house? Newcastle did a job, didn't it? Yeah? So, how do you think I'm going to win against the house? Brown people never came together, ever. Why would they put 20,000 kids into a single community now? I'm not trying to test you. Think. You can, whatever you say is not a wrong answer. Come on. Anybody? कभी सोचा नहीं है मुझे तो उर्दू में बोलना चाहिए कभी जिंदगी में हम इकट्ठे नहीं हो सके 4000 साल से कोई भी नहीं हमें इकट्ठा कर सका So now what's going to happen? How?
Time of global reset.
Yeah, but how? See, if I was speaking to the Arabs right now, it would have been a far easier job because I could give a lot of examples and they would have come in for the Arabian honor. So let me make you think about this because I need an answer from you guys because I did my maths in this one. This is just statistics. I'm not betting against the house. You need to understand. I know what I'm doing. I know how and why, inshallah, it'll work. Okay? I'm starting with the Pakistani Indian community for a reason. Okay? Because you know what? The Arabs won't even listen to me. Because they only would listen to an Arab. Only for the sake of the fact that, you know what? There are differences in the way people perceive human beings these days. So, people who do not know, let me tell you something, which is going to be new. When I say 20,000 people, there's a number. There's a reason. This is not like a haphazard, let's just start with 20,000. Yeah. No, there's a reason. That's the least we can do. If I can get more, which inshallah we will, we are going to get more. This 20,000 is your first batch. Now, why are they going to come together? Because I know, the only community Zaham that's going to give me 20,000 people is the Pakistani Indians. Okay? That's how I'm going to play my hand. I'll tell you why. Or how. Because the irony is that the Muslims in England right now, I'm going to give you a case study of England, okay? Muslims in England, before I came to England, I was doing all of that math and research of what's going on. Because I came to England last time, but in January, February, okay? So I had done a lot of numbers, but I wasn't, because this campaign was not on the table at that time. When I went through the whole awakening tour, I found out that, you know what? I was putting too much on the hopes from a community who does not really know its own strengths right now. So let me tell them what these strengths are and how this is gonna happen, inshallah. So there are 287,000. There are 287,000 Jews in England. That's 0.48%. Not even 0.5%. That's 0.478% of England. There are 22,780 professors registered in England academia. 22, let's just say 23,000, okay? You know how many Jewish professors from 27,000 or 23,000? Saham?
12,000, probably 12.
No. Can't just, why? Why would you say 12, not 11 or 13? Can't just wing it. It's a number, okay? There's 7,800, roundabout, 7,700 in some number, Jewish professors. 0.4% of the community is contributing towards about 40% of the academia. You see? That's how games are won. We're not designed to win. Remember I told you, we're not designed to win. We're designed to lose. We are 4 million Muslims in England. Okay? You need to understand. 1.7 million of them are only from Pakistan. Not India, Pakistan. You need to know the numbers. Where are they? They're in 3 major cities, scattered around England. They're not even connected to within a single city. You know what a Chinatown is? Chinatown is a place where Chinese come together. Every place in the world, okay? That's Chinatown. So there's no Pakistan town. We call Bradford a Pakistan town, okay? Or Birmingham, Sharif, a Pakistan town. But that's not why Pakistanis went there. Oh, you know what? There's a Pakistan town. No, no, no. We don't think like this. We're not designed like this. Again, we're designed to lose. You need to understand, you're 25, right? 23. Need to know how to look at the game. Especially women, you need to know how to understand the game. So 40% of professors in England are Jewish, out of 23,000, okay, 22,000 something. You know how many Jewish community is in the corporate of England? Yeah. 83% of all Jewish community is in its own business. There is no spillover. Jews don't go for odd jobs. Why? Is it written in their book? How come they know this code? How? They're born rich? No, they're not. Every Jew is not born rich. And I'm just talking about a case-to-case basis, okay? I'm comparing a 0.5%, which is 287,290, and 4 million, okay? 4 million. We are 10 times, just Pakistanis, are 10 times more in England than the Jews here. And you know who's the top 1% of England in terms of affluence and money? You don't have to guess. And you know who's the bottom 5% of England in terms of affluence and money? You don't have to guess. The Pakistanis. It's not the Indians. Indian community is not the bottom 5%. Pakistanis are. You know how long have we been in England for? 4 generations. 4 generations of Pakistanis in England. So our great-grandfather, who knew that someday some king will be born, and his son said, you know what? There was a boy born named Charles. So we came way before Charles in England. And we are at the bottom 5%. So there's something wrong with the way we design ourselves. We raise our boys like you and tell them wrong things. He grows up with those wrong definitions and he starts to live a life. And his honest intent, you will have honest intent. But I'm not going to cut you any slack. Okay? That's not any kind of honor. Mere intent is not going to fetch you anything. You're a cancer if you do not change your definitions now. For who? For the next generation of Muslims. Because we gave you a cancer. I am the last generation before you. So I gave you the cancer. You know what the cancer is? Of the mold, the wrong definitions. So if you go through those struggles for that kind of purpose, which I've set for you, you're not going to make it. I swear to God, in a masjid, I'm telling you, you're not going to make it. You know why? Because I didn't make it. No one made it. 2 billion people, they didn't make it. You know where they made it? They made it the bottom 5% of the most affluent country in the world, where everybody got affluent except us. And everybody came 2 generations late. Later than us, we were here way before. And still we couldn't make it, and we're not going to make it. Our great-grandkids are also not going to make it. You know what the global poverty line is from the last 100 years? You know where the global poverty has gone? Up to most of the planet, 83% of the planet, 100 years ago, which was below poverty line, is not in poverty anymore. The human beings are getting richer. So much so that only a few clusters in the planet are still under the poverty line of as a whole community. And we came to England and we went down. We're at the bottom of the country where everyone's making it except us. And I was okay with that. You know, we're not making money. We're not getting richer. We didn't come here for the British pound. We came here because we were persecuted in Pakistan and we tried to save our religion and life. But that would not be the truth. We came here for the money. And we didn't make the money. So, Zaham, I send you to Antarctica. Okay? For whatever reason, to find something. You spend about a couple of years, maybe 10, you couldn't find it. What are you going to do?
Go back.
Yeah, we're not even going back, buddy. We're here, we're making more babies, they're having more babies, it's the fourth generation, we're still not finding whatever we came for, we're not going back. You see that curse? So, we got to change a few things. I don't want you guys to go back. I swear to God, I need you guys to stay here and prosper. Because if you guys make money, that money can be put to a lot more use. Okay? And if you combine your money, you guys will become the most formidable force for Pakistan. You can set the next chief of army staff. Well, not you guys, but your kids. Not me, but my kids. All you have to do is send your kids to a single program wherever it is. Now, I'm telling you, I don't have, a crystal ball. I do not know where this program is going to lead to. But I know it's designed to challenge the definition of Muslims. It is not designed to challenge Netanyahu. It is designed to make sure no more Netanyahu would ever dare look at Muslims. Because only a lobby can stop this sort of thing. Not a human man, not a human woman, and certainly not a good intent, mere intent. Okay? So, what we do is we design 3 different programs and make them gel into one. Number 1, the program of how to get people together. And how do people get together? I just told you. If we align their purpose, we can get them together. So it's a 2-pronged approach. Right now, all of our 15-year-olds are designed to set a purpose of money. I know that already. Don't worry. You don't have to give me any surprises. Every Zaham wants to make money. I get it. So we start with making sure that they don't have to go through jobs, struggle, and make take only a drop from the ocean. Okay? You do what every man who ever knows how to make money does. So, how to generate wealth, what economy is, how economy works, how money works, and how to actually establish your own money machine. Actually, machines will be taught to these kids together. And they are going to go into a project of connecting together to become entrepreneurs. And since there are going to be enough numbers, they will become entrepreneurs from day one. You understand me? So if I give you, Zaham, a team of 30,000 people working under you, you already have the biggest company in the world. All you have to do is make sure you deliver. Okay? And they're going to help you make sure you deliver. So, this is why most of the parents are going to send me their kids. You know what? No more jobs. He's going to become a businessman. Paise banayega. So, he will have a lobby and people are going to support him. And money, money, money. Okay, yeah, money. But that's because he's carrying that virus. Blood type to wahi hai na jo meri hai. Jo mere bete ki wahi hogi. So, okay, I get it. I understand. Then, entrepreneurial skill leads to something else. Okay, we make sure that he doesn't go somewhere else. He doesn't become a money man, money hungry, greedy man. Now, I was working for 3 different companies during my career in Canada. 3 of these companies, all 3 of them, are owned by Jewish corporations, and a percentage of that only was made sure religiously going to Israel. Okay, it was no secret. They don't keep secrets. And they not only make sure that everybody knows about this, they project it. Later I found out that they do it because they want to, run away from the tax as well. So they register a lot of Jewish charity programs, and then they put money in the charity programs. That program sends money to Israel. So they're not sending money to Tel Aviv, they're sending to Toronto. Toronto charity program sends it to Tel Aviv. So they make sure that's how the system is enforcing their purpose as well as, their money program as well. So entrepreneurial skill. Now, just because, Zaham, you all of a sudden are a businessman now and you have 20,000 people who are also making business, structures, that's not going to turn you into a community. You need to have a single community-based program, which is on the backbone of all of these entrepreneurial skills, economics, and wealth generation programs, all of that, and of course the mental capital, the IQ builders, and the programs where you're going to actually get educated and all of that. All of these programs are going to be attached to or attached with under a platform which is the underpinning of how to build a community. So Zaham, or anybody, especially mommies, tell me something. You know when an elephant dies, female elephant dies, which has an infant elephant, what happens to that infant?
The herd look after it.
Yeah, the herd actually appoints a foster mother, and the mother adopts it, and the herd makes sure that that infant does not die, and they take care of that infant elephant. So boys, what happens to a wolf when a wolf, female wolf, dies with an infant wolf? Yeah, the pack comes and takes over that little infant wolf. Now tell me, elephants know this, wolves know this. Pakistan is a country where wolf is a phrase. You know what a wolf is? Who snatches my infants is a wolf. Bhediya sifat. Okay? Even though Bhediya takes care of the infants. So tell me, mommies, when was the last time you really found in Newcastle of where is a Muslim infant in need and you adopt him? Yeah. So even the wolves are better than us now. Even the elephants and wolves are better than us. Imagine why Allah Azza wa Jal is not looking down and sending angels to us, except the wrath is upon us. You think Netanyahu is a problem? No, my mommy is a problem. And my mommy is not a problem. Her mommy, her daddy, the mold. So we're molded into this fact. We're molded into this fact that I'm only for my kids alone, and I'm the queen of Jannah because I raised my little puppies into little, look at them, look at them. Look at them, just look at them. And you call all of those communities, by the way, whose infants you didn't care of. Come here, look at my kids. A wolf would kill another wolf if another wolf did whatever we do. That this is what you have to show for? So, a community is not made because of money. Money actually can break a community. So if I just run an entrepreneurial program, it'll break the next generation. More chances are. So I got to make sure that something else is running through the veins of this program. What is that? Purpose is set already. How to achieve that purpose? We're in the how-to right now. So that you can understand why you're sending your daughters and your sons. What am I going to be making them do? A good human? No, oh my God, that is the biggest cancer running in the Muslim vein. Hold on, let's just fix that. We are not on this planet to become good human beings. If that was the case, Christians would make it way sooner in heaven than us. Jews would make it they're way better human beings than us. And you know that, you knew in Newcastle. I would rather rely on a Christian woman for my kids. And you would too. They're nicer, they're givers. They would sacrifice their own blood for any infant. Have you registered for a foster parent program, by the way? Any one of you women? No? Have you registered for a foster parenting program in Newcastle yet? You see what I'm saying? And they're taking it from the Bible, by the way. They take it directly from the Bible. Have you not noticed what kind of a giving community is this Christian land is? You better give credit where credit is due. Okay? I was raised by the Irish nuns, literally, in school. So I know where their values are coming from. They used to tell me, They were trying to make a Christian out of me, and to a good Christian. Literally. They never hit it. They wanted a good Christian out of me. They said, you even look like Jesus. And no, I didn't have a beard and long hair at that time. I was a kid. Little did she know, eh? Little did she know. Or they knew. So what I'm saying is, we need a program where kids would give their time, cut their own space and give space to others, make time, put that element of sacrifice into play. And we do not want learners, we need teachers. We need teachers in the Ummah. So we are going to make a space program where people are going to come into this little place and kids are going to adopt other kids. And they're 15 to 25, you need to understand that. So there are 5 different slices within this slice. That senior slice is going to be taking care of the junior slice. By a couple of years, these 15-year-olds are going to be taking care of, inshallah, their local communities, wherever they are. That's the job. They're going to be finding Muslims, making sure that their neighborhood is adopted by them. And we will be funding that, inshallah. We will be funding that. Because if wolves can do that without any job at Microsoft, I'm sure as hell Muslims can do that. We do not need any external means. We already have that system within us. And God knows there are way more refugees as Muslims than any other religion in any given country, especially England. What I'm saying is simple. Unless your kids become missionaries, this community is not coming together. And I'm telling you, right now, I have the means. Maybe I won't tomorrow, only Allah knows. So I can fund a lot of this program. So you don't have to worry about whether I'm asking for money. None of your pounds or dollars are going to be spent here. All I need is your human Muslim kids to be inside masjids attending these projects. I haven't asked for a single pound of donation ever in my life, and inshallah I will not. Okay? You need to understand that. Remember the words I spoke to my daughter. You are the price. My wife, you are the price. If I, as a Muslim, cannot pay the price of my own family, I do not have the right to ask for your families. So you need to understand, I'm not a philanthropist. I'm a classic Muslim trying to make sure that this cancer that I was given does not go to my kids in the next generation and they become a single unit and no one can bully them, especially in our own homelands like Nawaz Sharif and Zardaris and the armies or the civils. I'm telling you, it is not ironic, it is not a coincidence that somebody from 10 Downing Street, who's not a Pakistani nor a Muslim, is going to select the next Chief of Army Staff and the Prime Minister. Somebody in the streets of Manchester is writing the policy for Pakistan right now. But they're not our kids. All they did was make that blockchain, that's it. And we gave them and outsourced them our future, our country, our religion as well. I promise you that they are allowing it. I promise you they are allowing it. That we can hear the azan in Islamabad. Otherwise, azan in Islamabad will be just like in this masjid in Newcastle. Don't you cry? I just came from Pakistan. It's a killer that when I hear the azan within the masjid. What's the point? I mean, it's my Muslim honor that is at stake. Why can't, this sound cross the street? Why are we okay with the fact that we cannot do azan in Newcastle? Well, I'll tell you right now, we won't be able to do azan if things keep on going in Islamabad as well. It happened in Turkey, you know that, right? And you know what, let me give you a little example. And I'm pretty sure you don't know about this. It's a true story. President Musharraf, somebody was on the visit, I don't remember who. Somebody on the visit to Pakistan, and President Musharraf wanted him to see Faisal Masjid. That dude was not a Muslim. So, you know what? Faisal Masjid did. He said, he's not a Muslim. Don't let him come in here. He said, no, don't worry about it. He's not just anybody. He's the big daddy. So they closed off the masjid. No more azan in Faisal Masjid because this guy is going to visit. So he made a little park out of the masjid instead of the masjid. And the whole staff was taken out. No more azans for those 2-3 days. No more, nothing. This guy is going to come and visit. So it didn't just happen in Turkey. It happened in my city as well. In the biggest masjid in the world. You need to understand. This happened right in front of me, so I know. So when I stand here inside a masjid, and I know these speakers are going to say the azan. I get it. I know. We don't own the system here. I know. But you know what? What I don't get is that they own their own system here. I'm okay with that. Why do they own my system as well in my place? Why doesn't my kid not in Newcastle not own? Because it's going to be owned by Newcastle, right? I get it. And Manchester, in Birmingham, okay. Then my kids already are in 4 million of them. Why can't we own the system in our own places? Well, we can, only if we come together. So what's going to happen? I know, sacrifice. Starts with sacrifice. So when we have that number, inshallah, and it's going to start with 1, I get it, and we already have some. I'm not even starting with it. In my own tour, Scotland came for the rescue, alhamdulillah. Even Birmingham came for the rescue, alhamdulillah. So if we have enough number, which we will inshallah, then we make sure that our kids write the foreign policies. And you know how? They raise the standard. You know what raises the standard? Education. So we need to sponsor our kids so that I know their daddies and mommies can't afford it, but this 20,000 people can afford everything. So whoever's performing the program, we send them to Cambridge and Harvard and Yale so that they will be able to write the correct foreign policy. You understand me? They will be able to write the correct legislations, the law. We need to put our kids into the right institute so that they can become competent, and only that kind of money, which is stopping. I know, we do not have enough money. I know, I get it. But their mommies and daddies don't have the money. Everybody comes together, we have way more than affording a Cambridge degree. Way more, alhamdulillah. And we're going to be making our own money. Again, I'm not talking about donations here, okay? You need to understand. Yes, ma'am.
मैं आपसे सवाल करना है, maybe some very silly to you. मेरे बच्चे हैं, say 14 and 15 year old. मैंने उनको simply persuade करना है to come to that program 10 minutes.
No, आपने कोई persuade नहीं करना. Persuade मैंने करना है. आपने facilitate करना है कि उनको मस्जिद आने में मसला ना हो. Okay? If the program is not attractive, आप जितना मर्जी persuade करेंगी वो नहीं आएंगे. You need to understand that. No, I'll tell you what your job is. Facilitate का मतलब क्या होता है? Facilitate का मतलब ये होता है. Remember the sewers story? The whole generation of Jewish community was forced to live in the sewers. What were they talking about in the sewers? What's your name, ma'am? Kiran. What were they talking about?
How to come out of the
No. See, that's the problem. And that's a good question. How to come out of it? No, but that's not what they were talking about. They were saying something else. ये होता है फर्क पर्पस में जब कम्युनिटी का पर्पस हो और पर्पस में जब किसी बंदे का पर्पस हो. No one was talking about the sewers. I'll tell you what Theodore Herzl said. उनके कायदे आज़म, Theodore Herzl, okay. He said, you know what, I do not blame the British. I do not blame the British because the Jewish community was persecuted by the British. I do not blame the Germans and the Europeans. I do not blame them. Because we would have done the same. It is the human design. कि जब कोई बाहर का सेल जिस्म के अंदर आता है तो जिस्म क्या करता है? जिस्म उसके साथ फाइट करता है, उसको मार देता है. He wrote it in the first chapter of Der Judenstaat. Read it, buddy. Der Judenstaat, D-E-R, Der Judenstaat, German, translated now, okay? He said, whenever the Jewish community comes together in any other land, they try to kill us. The Muslims killed us, before that the Christians killed us, then now Everybody in Europe is killing us. They're not killing us in the name of their religion. They just kill us for culture, they kill us for economy, they kill us for this and that. And we would have done the same because we have a hard-lined purpose and a hard-lined belief in our book. And we cannot force anybody to believe in our book because that's not how it works. Even as Muslims, we cannot force anybody to believe in Quran. La ikraha fid deen, right? So, that's going to keep happening to us unless we go to our own homeland and establish a country wherever only we rule the system. That's what we're talking about inside the sewers. They don't want to come up down the road and try and, suck up to the locals and try and be, one of us. Please, we're one of you guys. Let's come to common terms. No. So what did they come up with? I'll tell you what they came up with. Every adult, every older man and woman, especially mommies, that's what your job is. They started saying one statement to their kids. You know what that statement was? Next year in Jerusalem. Everybody said this to everybody every day. Next year in Jerusalem. It took them just 2 generations to be where? In Jerusalem. What did it get them? This statement got them the money, the power, the degrees, the education, the influence, the lobby. This one statement got them everything because their kids came together. Now you know what the rabbi meant when he said, Sahil, you Muslim, you always get it wrong. It is not us that are funding Israel. It is not us that is empowering Israel. It is Israel that is empowering us. It is Israel that is funding us. It is Israel that is aligning us together. We just do not have a Jerusalem anymore, buddy. Even though that was our Jerusalem. They came to our Jerusalem. In other words, you know what? I have daughters, right? So somebody loves my daughter, makes a career, goes to Harvard, becomes a lawyer because he's in love with my daughter, and he makes a lot of money. He wants to get married to my daughter. He comes to me and says, I want to propose to your daughter. I did so much for your daughter so that she can have a good life. And I'm thinking, okay, my daughter gave you prosperity. My daughter gave you a career. My daughter gave you a purpose. My daughter gave you everything. And my daughter didn't give me anything. She's my daughter, and she's developing this guy, and he's doing really good, and he's going to actually take care of my daughter. So you know what? He deserves my daughter. That is Allah Azza wa Jal said in the Quran. Literally, this is the meaning of the ayah in the Quran, that if you're not going to take up to the purpose, I'm going to replace you with people who are better than you for the purpose because I do not need you, you need me. So, make sure Islam doesn't need us. We need Islam. And you know what this is? This is Surah Muhammad I'm talking about. I just quoted you the ayah of Surah Muhammad. That if you're not going to take up this purpose, I'm going to replace you with someone who is better than you. So who's going to be better than us? Inshallah, our kids are going to be better than us. All we got to do is line them up and make sure that, you know what, the circulatory system is made up of, veins which connect with each other and real blood flows through that. Real blood is, I know, people have real problems. They can be solved with money. So we need to make them generate the wealth. Make them go through business cycles. Train them how businesses are run. Make them understand how to not only start a business, maintain it. How to make sure these companies are at standards which are better than any other company. Okay? The best companies are not made by Jews or nor run by Jews, nor the Christians. You know who they were run by? The Japanese. Because they have the systems, they have the standards. You need to understand. But Japan is not a name of a blockchain. Okay? That's just the name of a standard. What we are forgetting this is common sense things. Our Prophet ﷺ trained all of his Sahabas to a certain standard of whatever they're going to do. And that's how they prospered. So this is a very simple program I'm telling you. It's a little tiring because it's only once a week or twice a week in Saturday, Sunday. If it were to run every day, it would finish in a couple of years only. But I know it's not. I'm not some guy who's, trying to sell colored bubbles. This is as real as it gets. It's going to take a little time, maybe 3, maybe 4 years. But during every single day of those 4 years, our sons and daughters are going to get enriched with a better way of looking at life, develop themselves, make sure they're way better human beings than last 10 generations ever were. Because they'll be givers, they'll be helping each other, they'll be learning more, their IQ is higher. You know what the average IQ of Pakistan is, Zaham? 89. Do you know how big of a problem that is? I can't even rely on him to actually sell me clean fruit anymore. He doesn't make the fruit, God makes the fruit. All he has to do is clean it. And he can't even do a good job. And even if he wants to, he can't. He does not have the brains for it. Average IQ of Pakistan is that. And you know what the problem is? That it's not going to go up. So you know who's going to help us? Overseas Pakistanis. Because their average IQ is not 89. England raised the IQ of the local. You need to understand that. That's why, by the way, you guys came here, for education and, developing brains. So, it is very simple. We just need 20, 30, 40, 50 people per masjid, but we need a lot of masjids. Why masjid? I told you. Unless it is a masjid. I could easily do this in community halls and community centers, rent out a little campus here and bring everybody here, but that's not going to rhyme with the emotional, superstitiously flavored definition of Islam that the last generation has. Even though that will be the real definition of a masjid, where Muslims come together for a purpose, help each other, pray, and then go back. Current masjid is not doing that. Current masjid is doing everything but that, actually. So that would be the masjid. But no, I'm using the current campuses so that all of those emotional lines which are with the masjid, alhamdulillah, they will be channeled and people will be glad to send their kids to masjid. Okay, good. That's the plan. And unless you believe in this, like the Jews believed in next year in Jerusalem, you believe in this, it's not going to happen. So that's why, Kiran, I need you to believe in this first. Why? So unless you ask questions, you're not going to believe in this. Unless you get to understand first. Unless you believe in this, your kids are not going to believe in this. Unless you understand how it works, you're not going to believe in this. So for your kids to be in there, you need to understand how it works and why it's there. So my job is for you to know why. My job is for you to know how, but only if you ask me the technical side of things. Right now, we do not have time, nor do I have enough aid for you to show you the whole framework, okay? Because I'm walking around in England, in the streets of England, started with Leicester. I start with London, and then with Leicester, where I open the curriculum as well. Here you go. Take it for free. If you don't want me to do it yourselves. It's not a commercial program. I'm not charging anybody for it. Not even any single kid will be paying anything. All you have to do is make sure he's aligned why he's coming to the masjid. Parents are facilitating the children to come together, ask questions. How did you do today? What is the difference between today and yesterday? Where is the improvement? How many people are connected? What's the output today? You need to know, they need to know that they're, it is not they're working for a community. They need to know that, their parents are also part of the community. Okay? And don't worry, your kids are not going to actually adopt a child and bring it to your homes. It's not going to become a burden. Don't worry. Okay, we know how the adoption scheme works. Yes?
So what about, say, I've listened to you before as well. You talk about the IQ being rose to their maximum in the initial years of a child.
Yeah.
Let's say for example from 3 to 12 that you talk about. The group you're mentioning is from
15 to 25.
So what to do with the kids who are younger than that? Like
See, it's a good question. Listen, I would ideally want your 5-year-olds to come and learn Arabic your 7-year-olds to come and learn the Seerah and the Quran, your 7-year-olds to come and learn mathematics here in the masjid, ideally. But I can't start that program right now. I'll tell you the mechanical side of it. We did the math on that one. Thank you so much. How'd you figure? Oh, I thought your camera. Okay. Thank you. See, that's how it starts. Thank you. So, where was I? Mathematics, physics, biology. You know, I did the math. I'll tell you how I did the math, because I actually am teaching mathematics to about 114 countries worth of Muslim kids. Okay, they're 1,000 something in number right now, 1,000 something, because that's batch one. I'm teaching about 18,000 people Arabic right now in my school. It's online. I'm doing that. They pay. It's not a free program. They pay a lot of money, by the way. And right now, we just launched a program. We're about to launch it in 1st of January, Islamic Foundation. So that all of these mathematicians are going to come up. I don't want them to become mathematicians alone, even though that mathematics is the Quranic mathematics. There's a 4-year program which hits the postdoctoral mathematics right now, postdoctoral mathematics, the PhD. Okay? You know how I found it, how I bumped into this program? Because when I found out that now human beings have discovered the Gaussian prime, the Gaussian equation, the mathematicians now, the top mathematicians of the world now discovered in 1990s, okay, 80s. And this Muslim professor, who, by the way, is who I'm re-engineering. His book is what I'm re-engineering for all Muslims in my school. He wrote a book that, you know what, now you discovered the Gaussian equations. The Quran was designed on the Gaussian prime 1400 years ago. He's been propagating that. We have the right talent scattered around the world. So now I know that Alif, Lam, Mim is the Haruf-e Muqatta'at. They're set on the prime, Gaussian prime table in the Quran. So I now know through the Gaussian prime table where the next Haruf-e Muqatta'at will be in the Quran. The Quranic mathematics, download the book from Dr. Fazli. Download. If you want me to give you, I'll give you right now, if there's a group here. Read the book. Right now, only a handful of mathematicians in Cambridge or wherever in the world can understand, let alone solve that mathematics. And this guy, you know, who wrote the book, he gathered up the mathematics of the Quran. So you need to be at such an advanced level in mathematics to just start the understanding of how mathematics of the Quran is. And you know what he wrote in the first page of the book? That the challenge when Allah Azza wa Jal said, if you can, make an ayah like this. That was the challenge of mathematics. You'll know when you read that book. Obviously, none of you is going to understand that book unless you're a mathematician yourself. So what I'm saying is, I did the whole run, the roster and the, you know, we call it the cluster. So we made the cluster of mathematics. We ran down the numbers. So I knew I cannot do that because it takes about at least an hour every day to finish it in 5 years. And they're projects, by the way. They're not tuitions. We give projects to our kids. They have to do those projects. And we are doing those projects in 5 years, 5 days a week, only because we train them on the first 3-4 months on Python, the computer language, and they do their mathematics inside the computer because this is not a two-dimensional mathematics. Okay? Only Python can manifest all of that mathematics because when I say a square plus b square plus 2ab, do you see anything? You cannot. But there is a use for a square plus b square plus 2ab, right? There's a use for trigonometry. You know, there's a use for mathematics. Every single thing is made by mathematics. They put it to use. But we don't do it because we did it on paper and we hated it, and that's why we never became mathematicians. So Python actually makes sure the mathematics comes to life right in front of you, and in less than a year, they'll be running projects which are going to cross your IGCSE levels. But the difference between these students and your regular students is that they would know the utility of mathematics and they would fall in love with it. That's not possible here because I do not have your full-time students coming here. It's just a Saturday, Sunday project program that I'm actually proposing right now. I know you're not going to be able to give me my Muslim kids 5 days a week. If you are, if you can, it comes at a cost as well, because that's a lot of faculty coming together to train them. So right now, that's why I'm saying I have actually proposed officially, offering right now that if the masjid has any problem, I will pay the masjid. We will be financing the masjid. I put them on payroll that we just need that facility and a screen and an internet connection where it can be connected to every masjid of the program globally, and everyone sitting down, coming down with the same program. If you have any problems, don't worry, we understand, we'll pay you for it. We have the money, we'll pay you. You do not have to spend a single dime. Sometimes it takes a lot of toll on the electricity and all of the resources. It's okay, I will pay you. I offered that in Scotland and offered that in Birmingham. It's obviously an offer for everybody that, if the masjid wants money, okay, we'll do the math on how much money, is going to, compensate for the expenses. If you want me to put those people on payroll who are serving the masjid, may God be pleased with them. Yeah, I'll pay them, I'll put them on my payroll. That's not a problem. But what I need is to make sure that you guys understand that, that's why I started this. A woman arranged this program here. You do not know. Arrange a program, you'll find out. It's not a phone call you make and everybody starts working around, You gotta be there, every single element of the program, from little details from who's gonna be holding this microphone or camera to how many chairs, where the chairs are gonna come from. First, get the masjid to be convinced. Oh my God, I don't think regular folks can do that. So we need, by the way, that elephant adoption is called allomate. A-L-L-O-M-A-T, allomate. In English, we call it the allomate. So she is the allomate here. Okay, may Allah be pleased with her. So if there is activism in our mothers and our sisters, my God, man, we were supposed to lift the muscle, use the muscle. We were supposed to protect our sisters, that they wouldn't have to do this kind of job. But she's doing it, alhamdulillah. May my daughters do that too as well. May my daughters, follow the steps of this sister of mine who arranged this, and she's arranged the last session as well. And I'm telling you, a girl in Southampton got everybody in the masjid. A girl! So people can do this. And I'm not saying, send it to, X masjid, which is some kilometers away. No, send them to your closest masjid. So that you wouldn't even have to, worry about anything. So what I'm saying is, things can be done only if we first believe that they should be. Then get convinced of how they should be. If these two steps are not taken, no matter what kind of intent we keep, we're going to just be feel-good Muslims, we're going to make each other feel good, and everything's going to be hunky-dory during the session, and nothing's going to happen after. And you're going to sleep so sound tonight. You're going to, I went to the masjid, attended the sermon. I feel like a little Fatima and Aisha, and you're going to feel like a little Abu Bakr and Ali. And next morning, back to Newcastle versus Liverpool. That's it. So what I did, I run a teenage mentorship program at my school. So I started telling them that, forget about the rest of the activities, which we do in the class. First, we're going to do a single activity, and I want you to do that. Now, wherever I'm going, I'm telling them to do it. There's a psychology behind this, a science behind this. Forget that right now. I'm not going to explain to you this. It's long. So just do what I'm telling you to. Okay. Don't ask me how I came up with this. Every morning that you wake up, without giving any gap, the first thing you're going to do, while you're in bed, you don't have to do anything. While you're lying down in bed, when you open your eyes, 5 minutes, take your cell phones, which you do, don't check messages of whoever messages you, do that later. Just give it 5 minutes. 5 minutes when you wake up, open the stopwatch, turn the stopwatch on, start the stopwatch, stop it at the 5th minute. So you would not do the 6th minute, okay? You know, usually when people do this, that means, dude, you're done, get out. Okay. So this is Iran-Pakistan thing, yeah? Yeah. In Iran, they do this, don't worry. Okay. So the 6th minute is going to be a burden, but the 4th minute is not going to be enough. Don't ask me how I know that, okay? It's a lot of detail. So 5 minutes, only if it's the first thing when you do after you wake up. So you start the stopwatch, 5 minutes. When the 5-minute mark is up, you stop and you do whatever you want to do. Now I'm going to tell you what you're going to do in the 5 minutes, okay? But it's just a 5-minute thing. So it shouldn't be a burden. Anybody can do it. Doesn't take money, time, anything. Just 5 minutes. So what are you going to do in the 5 minutes? You're going to start the stopwatch, and you're going to close your eyes, and you are going to envision and imagine the day of judgment as much as you can about the detail of what is the color of the ground you're standing in, the guy next to you, what is he wearing, if he's wearing anything, how tall, with the woman, what's going on, what's the sky look like. You're going to go into this panoramic vision of the day of judgment. Okay, make sure you understand. That's the one thing that you're going to do. And after you're done the 5th minute, 2nd day, 3rd day, and 4th day, all of a sudden you're going to start to see more things. Even though it's just your imagination, don't worry. And once you've done that, you take notes, whatever part of the day you feel like. Just write down what you saw. Okay? And then the next day, you're going to repeat the same exercise. This time, you're going to do the Jannah, whatever you want. And the next day, you're going to do the Jahannam or whatever you don't want. The real Jahannam, the real Jannah. Okay? For that, you're going to read some hadith in the Quran. And you don't have to read the hadith of the Quran, don't worry. Whatever hadith of the Quran is being played around you, if it is about Jannah or Jahannam or the Day of Judgment, it is naturally going to come into your ear now, and you're starting to pixelate the diagram because you're doing this exercise in the morning. That's how brain works, okay? Now, if you do this for enough number of weeks every day, and you cannot stop, it's just 5 minutes, right? You're not just going to give me your kids. You're going to give me everything you have. Okay, so this is not a wazifa or I'm not a peer. I'm doing this for this program. If you do this for enough number of weeks, which you should, by the way, every day, right? Okay, Aisha, radiallahu anha, says that the first 8 years, Allah Azza wa Jal never revealed anything except of the Day of Judgment in the Quran. All the ayahs of Akhirah, 8 years, nothing else. Once the Arab was trained on Akhirah, everything they knew, then the instructions came in. Don't do this, don't do that, do this, do that. Kutiba alaykum this, kutiba alaykum that, kutiba alaykum this. Kutiba means it's upon you now, it's mandatory. And people, as soon as the wahi used to come, Arab used to start doing it. One time when the alcohol was banned, the caravan had just arrived in Medina. And obviously it was a liquor caravan, right? So everybody was drinking, and they're all Muslims. And the man who was standing on the, people who received, those dealers, he said, the alcohol has been banned now. Alcohol, it's haram now. And some people were drinking alcohol because they were on their camels, all of that stuff. And the sound went into the ear. They, instead of just taking that sip down, they started putting their fingers in to throw up whatever alcohol there was, because the sound has already entered the ear. Okay? There was a lady going from Mecca to Medina, and the hijab ayah came in, and another caravan had come in, and they were on a stopover. And they said, did you know that the ayah, Surah Ahzab, ayah 59 has been revealed? That every woman has to cover her face and, do the hijab. And this woman told her husband, he couldn't find his wife. And he said, where did my wife go? And she was hiding under a big stone. And she said, unless you cover me, do not let anybody come near the rock. Now listen to why I'm telling you this. Because the first 8 years of training had been done. Once the 8-year training program was done, these are the effects on human minds and brains and hearts. That's why I'm telling you, this is not a favor upon me, this is a favor upon your kids. Just 5 minutes. Not the 6th minute, okay? 5 minutes on the stopwatch so that you would know you're only giving 5 minutes. Envision the day of judgment, envision hell, envision heaven. Read the Quran if you have to get better vision, because Quran gives you details of what's going to happen. Hadith gives you what's going to happen. Okay? Hadith literally tell you the shine on the copper gown. The copper gown. You know, people will be wearing gowns of molten copper. Okay? From where to where, the copper. So you read the Hadith, you're going to get real 4K pictures. So envision that. In about a couple of weeks, maybe 3 or 4, you'll be calling me back to Newcastle. This masjid will be filled with your kids. And it'll be like, where are you starting this program, brother? Because we see what the Quran is saying, and we can't let our kids be there. We have to make sure our kids, because the biggest punishment and torment of hell, torment in Islam is not that you'll be put in hell. The biggest torment is that the people, the kids that you love, they'll be burnt right in front of you. My own kids? You think I'm going to let this happen to my own kids? No. So that's what I meant when I said to my wife, you are the price. If I don't do this, then I take you in hell with me. Someone's got to be the first drop of the rain. Can't expect others to start and me wait up and be a spectator. No, I got to be the first drop of the rain. So it starts with my kids, and that's how I gather enough courage and belief to ask for your kids to come to the masjid. Only come to the masjid. Don't do anything else. Don't bring any backpack, any pencils or paper. Don't, just come to the masjid. We'll take care of the rest. Okay? So this is the program of Hayyal al-Falah. Hayyal al-Falah is obviously come towards the ultimate success, where Allah Azza wa Jalla is calling every Muslim to the masjid. Prophet says, give glad tidings to whoever goes to the masjid, especially in the times of darkness, which means Fajr and Isha. So what I'm saying is, unless we change the definitions of how we look at success, life, and failure, our kids are going to run down on the same statistics I gave you from England, and you don't want any of those statistics, for your kids. We do not. I need your kids to make money. I swear to God, I need that money for the ultimate use. And they're not going to get poorer by giving them. They're going to be richer because they'll be giving projects. I want your kids to be politicians. I need that politics. I swear to God, I need that politics way more. I need your kids to call in the shots on who's going to be the prime ministers in not just Pakistan, even in England and America. Do you know how many they are? 400. Less than that, 300 something. The influential lobby, they call the shots. And I'm not talking about the 300 elderlies of the Zion. I do my own numbers. I know who calls the shots. You know how many people got $100 billion sent to Israel on the 9th of October? Because of the 9th of October? 4 people. You know how many of them are in England? 2. One from France, one from Germany. You know how long it took for those 4 people to get America to send $100 billion to Israel? 48 hours. Do you think they gave their own money? No. They are billionaires? No, they're not. Are they the richest people? Not even by far. 2 of them are professors. It doesn't take Bill Gates or Elon Musk to do this. It takes the right brains. It takes that one purpose to connect those brains together. It takes mommies to make sure that the kids remain to that purpose. It takes daddies to make sure that they maintain the kids maintain that purpose. And that's why If you do that activity for 5 minutes in the morning, I swear to God, you would understand why I'm saying whatever I'm saying. Okay? So, this is more of a promotion tour for this Hayyal al-Falah campaign. Any question other than this, about anything else in the world, I'll be happy to answer. Yes, sir.
I'm the chair of this masjid, and what you just said resonates highly with me.
Alhamdulillah.
The whole of my purpose was to come into the masjid and to develop kids Islamically.
Inshallah, yeah.
But you said stand outside the box and look at it that way. Now, I can stand outside the box, but seeing the world politics as it is now, that would be turning the spotlights
Back on us?
on
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
How do we fight that? Because
That's such a good question. Let me rephrase that question for all of you guys. So, in other words, we're revealing the plan.
You can speak a bit more Urdu if you want. That's what people are asking for if you want.
No, I'm not going to make that mistake now. You want me not to speak English? Who cannot understand English here? Why did you say that to me, man? Some people ask, okay. Ask me in Urdu, I'll ask and answer. Urdu में पूछे मैं उर्दू में जवाब दे दूंगा. जो भी नहीं समझ आ रहा. I'll tell you why I'm speaking English, because this program has to go to all overseas, and those kids need to understand, and a lot of people are not from Pakistan. And Muslims are Muslims no matter where they are. So we need every Muslim child to come to the masjid. Okay? So if I start speaking Urdu, somehow it'll give an impression. And a lot of Muslim Pakistani kids don't speak Urdu in America or Canada or wherever. So that's why English, I'm sorry. But आप पूछिए मैं आपको जवाब दे दूंगा, बेफिक्र रहें, okay? What he's saying is that, okay, this is the plan. Now, it's not just us that is in the plan. There's so many forces politically that's not going to let the Muslims come together. I'm assuming that's what you're saying. Yeah, I know. That's the first thing. My own brother, my younger brother, he told me that, you know what, because we were designing it in Pakistan. And before coming to England, we were designing all of this program that, how, because there's so much money involved that, we have to spend, and so much effort, but people are going to. So the best thing about this is something that makes us the most vulnerable. Because Muslim kids coming together, everyone hates that. No one wants the Muslims to come together. Actually, nobody wants nobody else to come together. The powers remain in power because nobody else becomes powerful. They make sure of it. But you need to understand, sir, not only that this is a valid argument, but it is probably, on paper, that's the worst thing we can do, right? But we are not Freemasons. We are not the Illuminati. We do not have a secret society. I am counting, just like, because it is allowed, and even in Islam, Dar-e-Arqam was a secret institute for the days when Allah Azza wa Jal told the Prophet ﷺ not to tell everybody yet. Islam was being, spread in secrecy. Okay, not everybody in Makkah knew what's going on. So, and even when Abu Dhar Ghifari became a Muslim, even at that time, Abu Bakr Siddiq told him, make sure you do not tell anybody that. Okay? Even though he became a Muslim inside the Kaaba. Okay? So, but as much of the math I did, I'm telling you, this program cannot be done I want all the enemies to look at this program. It has to be so inspiring that it becomes the biggest dawah. That what are we doing? Raising IQs of human beings? Learn the math. Non-Muslims are welcome. You know why? Because it is the most natural way of building a community and bringing the bigger progress and change. This should become the biggest institute of how to raise IQ, how to become entrepreneurial together, become a part of the blockchain. Okay? So there's nothing that we're doing which is against the common good of any walking pedestrian down the streets of Newcastle. Who doesn't want the moral capital? Who doesn't want the financial capital or the political capital or the mental capital? Everybody wants their kids. Even a Christian would want that. A Jew would want that. An atheist would want that. Forget the Jews are the believers, right? Christians are the believers. Atheists would want, hey, you know what? Give these 4 things to my kids as well. I want him to know how to run, companies. I want him to know how to run countries as well. By the way, there are no countries in the world right now. Zaham, there are only companies in the world. Companies run countries now. Before that, countries used to run companies. Now countries are run by companies. So if this becomes a company, it can run many countries. We start with our own, okay? Because if we cannot get our own house in order, we do not have enough resume, or in other words, the right to make changes anywhere else, okay? So what? England itself would prosper, and it better prosper because of our presence. That's the sunnah of Allah's Prophet ﷺ. Wherever he used to go, placed you to get better. Did we make England better? No. Well, politicians make places better. Money makes places better. Affluence makes places better. IQ makes places better. Now, I know how wealth is generated, so I know we're going to start training kids from the bottom. So to enhance the answer to your question, agriculture was the reason for wealth generation for thousands of years. Now agriculture is not the reason for wealth generation. Science is. So if we can generate physicists and generate the mathematics, if we can invent the thermodynamics, is the reason why America became America. You should know. If there is no thermodynamics and the timing of where this physics came from, there wouldn't be any machines or industry. So science actually tells the whole human being of where to move. Now quantum computer is going to set the tone for wealth. Okay? So if we have enough physics in our Muslims, in our mathematics enough, and the Quran is pushing us to physics and mathematics. If I had the screen, I would have showed you. Abdullah bin Abbas is a pure physicist. I'll prove it to you. Ali bin Abi Talib, pure mathematician. I'll prove it to you by their own works. Jafar Sadiq wrote the first chemistry equation. Ibn al-Haytham was a student of Jafar Sadiq, trained by the Sahabas. So Quran is pushing us to space programs. It is a mandatory part of Islam to look up in the heavens and decipher the ayahs, the symbols of Allah, the signs. And you know who's doing that? NASA. NASA is doing that. That's our job they're doing. That's what Allah is saying. I'm going to replace you with someone better if you don't do the job. So I don't want my kids to be replaced by someone who's not even a Muslim. I want me to be replaced. I know I deserve it. But through my own kids, to your kids, to their performances. So be better, make politicians. وَأَعِدُّ لَهُمْ مَسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ. They better gather the force now. They become a force now. If we cannot connect our kids, then I'm sorry. We are the problem for Islam. I am the problem for Islam. I don't want 2 angels coming down when it's going to be time that, yeah, you know what? Reducing you from the planet would benefit it. I want those angels crying that, you know what, now that we have to take you, I know it's going to cause chaos because you are holding the fort. So, sir, amazing question. I know. That's the only play. Because if we start, masquerading it, it's not going to work. Our kids are not, because our kids are exposed. Alhamdulillah, information flows through them because of whatever, YouTube or whatever. But their IQ is better. They know what's going on. They're not going to jive into this little psychology. They're already in the psychology of progress. They are. But we haven't channeled it. But if Islam and Quran channels it, I'll tell you, the first program I'm going to enroll for them is the physics of the Quran. So that they would know that the more Quran they're going to know, the more space program orientation they're going to get. They would have to go to Cambridge for physics and mathematics. Why? So that they can be a part of the Quran better. The space program, the space scientists, the astrophysicists have not even scratched the surface of what the Sahabas have written already 1400 years ago from the Quran. We're Muslims, for God's sakes. We don't believe in the cosmic microwave background radiation. 14.8 billion years ago. We know that's just the first 7, buddy. There's 6 more on top. Imagine if a boy theorizes this and then extrapolates or reverse engineers the laws. You know what that would mean? Kepler's laws become irrelevant. Zaham, you know who Kepler is? Kepler's laws? See, you're in Newcastle, buddy. You gotta up the game, okay? Up the game. No, I mean it. You up the game. Yeah, a lot of people put a lot of time and effort to bring you in England. You were not even born at that time, okay? So you better up the game now. So, you know how Neptune was discovered? The planet Neptune? I'll give you an example of why I'm talking about this. You know how Neptune was discovered? Because somebody from England called Sir Isaac Newton in Cambridge wrote the law, and that law was not being followed by a planet. Planet Uranus was not following a man's laws. So everybody came together and said either Newton is wrong because Uranus is not following the orbit based on Newton's laws. Either Newton's laws are wrong or there's something else going on here. And everybody believed in the brains of this human being. By the way, who used to say that I get all of my wisdom from the book of God? The Bible, obviously. So they went to the telescope and said, why is Uranus not behaving the way it's supposed to behave according to Newton's law? There's a deviation in the orbit. So either something of X amount of mass, according to Newton's law, is tugging back, or Newton's laws are wrong. So they start to find that X amount of mass which has to be there for Uranus to be tugged back out of the orbit. And lo and behold, they found that mass. That was Neptune. That's the power of human mind working on paper right here, which discovers a planet in, how many planets are there? Daham, come on. 8. Says who? Says science, right? But you know what the Quran says? How many planets? The Quran told us about how many planets. Sumerians, 16,000 years ago, wrote this. Okay? They drew the solar system. They didn't have a telescope. They were being taught by some Nabi at that time, alayhi salam. The Quran told us that Yusuf alayhi salam saw a dream that a sun is being bowed down by certain planets. How many were there? No. 11. 11 planets. Now there are 8 discovered by science. So there are 3 missing, right? You can't believe what scientists say as an ayah or the hadith, right? It was our job to show them 3 more. We just don't know how to operate a telescope. That's how we have come down to. We do not go into physics. Pushed by the Quran. And I'm telling you right now, wallahu alam, they are going to discover it without the Quran, without a Muslim help. And we'll be like, oh, our Quran told us before 1400 years ago. Every time a Muslim just comes running to them. And they're like, why didn't you tell us before, man? You could have saved a lot of time. Every biologist comes up with something, oh, our Quran told us 1400 years ago. Look, biologist is saying, dude, you should have come to us in 1983. So I'm telling this right now, there are 11 planets. Does not that give you the energy to look up and see, learn mathematics, trigonometry? That's how the orbits are done. Where's my scarf? I'll show you something. My God, you a tidy-whitey. Listen, Abdullah bin Abbas is standing right here, like this. The Sahabas are standing. And إِذَا شَمْسُ كُوِّرَتْ. That's Surah Takwir. You know what Takwir means, Zaham? Why is this boy only taking the heat? Anybody knows what Takwir means? The name of the surah in the Quran, Takwir. To the camera, all of those Muslims who believe the earth is flat, this one's for you, okay? Takwir means making spheres, making little balls. That's called takweer. And you know what the surah is all about? Planets and stars. This is what Quran is pushing us to. So, إِذَا شَمْسُ كُفِرَتْ, the first ayah of Surah Takweer. Okay? إِذَا شَمْسُ كُفِرَتْ. When the sun is going to turn into a black hole. That's the meaning of the ayah. This is our Quran. They just discovered the black hole. And the Quran is telling us. So the Sahabas didn't know physics. Abdullah Abbas, the scholar of the Quran. People say, you know what? When Allah says, إِذَا شَمْسُ كُفِرَتْ, what does that mean? The sun is going to be covered into darkness and black. It turned into a black thing. He says, give me your turban. Give me your turban. And then he takes the turban and he opens it and he starts turning it. He says, this is how the sun is going to turn into darkness. What does that got to do with this? Got to do with sun turning into darkness. Now, you Google up how stars turn into a black hole. Google up right now. You're going to see a picture and you're going to see this. Right now, you can see this right now.
I've seen that picture.
1400 years ago, a man stands on some dunes in the sand, opens the Quran, and says, this is what it looks like. This is what when a star goes into its singularity. And you think we are going to follow Sir Isaac Newton? No, we should better be telling Newtons that this is the source of all knowledge, buddy. Take it. Use your machines. We are incompetent. We didn't make machines. We should have. Even though mathematics, the father of mathematics, was trained by the Sahaba. His name is Al-Khwarizmi, the father of mathematics. You know what I'm saying? From the Quran, man. So we quit the Quran. That's why our brains went down. They didn't quit the Quran. They don't know they're following the Quran, but they are. You know, every single, for example, Newton. Every single discovery I make, I discover it from the Bible. Said who? Sir Isaac Newton. Where in the Bible? Where in the Bible is all of this, this space program? You know where it is? Book of Genesis starts with, you know what verse? These stars and these heavenly bodies are speaking a language so that you can understand. So that you can understand. This is the first ayah of the book of Genesis. The Torah starts from that. Is not Quran pregnant with these ayahs? More than 181 ayahs of how space is behaving, how stars are behaving, why stars are behaving. Surah Takweer, the heavenly bodies. And then Surah Takweer goes further. I didn't even start because I don't have enough time. Where Higgs boson is described by Allah Azza wa Jal. You know what Higgs boson is?
Particle accelerator.
No, that's the that's the machine. That's the particle accelerator. That's in Geneva. Okay. Yeah. No. Higgs boson is the element of universe which gives mass to everything. Okay. Surah Takweer is talking about that, and there is no tafsir in the Quran. No tafsir that can explain that because Muslims have quit science. We started it, now we quit it. And when you go to Surah Takweer, you'll be like, okay, there has to be some explanation of this, but they cannot. So what they do is they come up with a general meaning, and they write it. We do not know what it means, so we come up with the formal conclusion for as much as we can tell. This is your Quran, my Quran we're talking about. So we put that in the center of the masjid. I swear to you, go home, look at your kids' cell phones. They are filled with astronomy. Your kids are already YouTubing astronomy and space programs and galaxies and solar systems. Because it is from within us, it is so fascinating. You don't force them into it, they go into it themselves. They want physics, they just don't know it. We push them out of it because we bore them out of it. So that when the Quran is going to do this, their IQ is going to generate, different formulas and equations. Like Abdullah bin Abbas, how did he know? If I had time, I'll tell you how he knew. Ali bin Abi Talib says, you know what, the Noah's flood, that water cannot be from planet Earth because planet Earth produces its own water and consumes that very drop. Now we know the water cycle. 17 trillion tons of water raises up in the heavens, clouds, and comes down as rain. 17 trillion tons of rain happens every year. 17 trillion tons of water is evaporated every year. So the rain cycle, the water cycle is complete. So where did Noah's flood water came from? Ali bin Abi Talib, Sahih Hadith, Ali bin Abi Talib says, this water came from Canis Majoris, another galaxy. So you see, open Surah Qamar, Quran says, we opened the gates of the sky so the water can come down to planet Earth. You need to understand, Earth could not have had that water. So it might show that Muslim scholars now, since they know, they're exposed to science a little, they're like, yeah, since Earth cannot have that water, so that means Noah's flood didn't really come on all of the globe. Now Muslims have started to say that, because they get influenced by the current day evolutionary scientists. Instead of believing in the Quran and telling the scientists that, you know what, we'll tell you what science is, don't we like it as well. You got it all wrong. And the scientists are humble enough to say, yeah, we could be wrong. But these Muslims who are coming up with, oh no, Noah's flood didn't come all over the world. They're so arrogant, they're like, you know what? Where in the Quran does it say it's all over the world? You know what I'm saying? So our kids should know that this program, this science, this requires a certain IQ. And you can only do it if you have a prerequisite brain for this. And mommies and daddies, you motivate them to the masjid program, fascinates them to the Quran, they do not have to be motivated anymore by mommies. I need Muslim households in Newcastle and wherever to know that if mommy says, where's my son? Daddy says, if he's not home, he better be in the masjid. And he should be in the masjid. If mommy is looking for the boy or a girl, and daddy says, if she's not home, she should be in the masjid then. This is how normal masjid should be for Muslims. This should be our primary home, our campus. Kids should be here every single day. I'm only telling them to come for Saturdays, Sundays because, and by the way, you are in some building for your fun and community games, and you don't have any harmful games and discussions. You could easily have come to masjids for that. We choose not to go to masjids because of our definitions. So if the masjid in its community becomes its community center, these programs are the easiest programs to run. Okay? So anybody else has anything? Yes.
हम लोगों ने ना खुद से ही डिसाइड कर लिया हुआ है कि हम ये काम करने के लिए मस्जिद जाएंगे तो मस्जिद में हमें करने नहीं दिया। हम आवाज़ उठाते नहीं हैं, पूछते नहीं हैं, कोशिश नहीं करते, खुद से ही सोच लेते हैं कि मस्जिद वाले हमें अलाउ नहीं करेंगे।
Yeah, assumptions are, yeah. See, this program is happening in a masjid. I mean, imagine that. And I'm telling you, a lot of people in England said, नहीं साल साहब मस्जिद में कैसे हो सकता है प्रोग्राम? like मस्जिद में क्या हो सकता है और क्यों नहीं हो सकता? वहाँ पे ग्रेविटी के लॉज कुछ और हैं, वहाँ मैं जाऊँगा तो छत पे लग जाऊँगा जाके. But you're right, people assume that because पाकिस्तानी trained हम, पाकिस्तान में मस्जिदें औकाफ की मिनिस्ट्री के अंदर आती हैं and there are some certain limitations because of whatever reasons. I don't want to go into that. It becomes a barrack, not a masjid. But overseas Muslims, they know the power of everyone coming together because we are minorities here. We need each other and our kids to be in single buildings.
हम यहाँ पे रहते हैं और यहाँ पे बहुत सारे कम्युनिटी सेंटर्स हैं जो क्रिश्चियन लोग हैं. उन कम्युनिटी सेंटर्स के अंदर बहुत सारी चीज़ें होती हैं. बच्चों के क्लब्स होते हैं, ख़वातीन के क्लब्स होते हैं, डांस भी होते हैं. लेकिन हमारे पास कोई कम्युनिटी सेंटर नहीं है. अगर हम करें तो वो कम्युनिटी सेंटर हायर कर लेते हैं, क्रिश्चियंस हमें दे देते हैं, हमारे कर देते हैं. लेकिन हम यहाँ पे आके
I know.
यहाँ पे आके नहीं करते.
I know.
हम पूछते ही नहीं हैं, पहले से ऐसे हम कर चुके होते हैं कि हमें नहीं जाने देंगे.
नहीं तो why don't you ask? Most masjids will be. देखिए मस्जिद तो शुरू दिन जब से मस्जिद बनती है ना, मस्जिद इज़ हंग्री फॉर पीपल. मस्जिद की शान ही उसकी भी मोटिवेशन होती है कि यस सर कि हर वक्त भरी रहे.
Answering that question, we in this masjid are trying everything to bring and motivate children to come to the masjid. Once they're in the masjid, they will want to learn the Quran.
There you go. Yeah.
They will want to learn and read namaz.
But see, a masjid's job is, and she's right about this, because you know what, most of the people assume that makes one more job in the masjid KPI to start programs where people would know that, you know what, we break the taboo that, you know, masjid is just another place to go to.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we've had a boxing club here today, and we forgot to inform them. So we send them upstairs in the masjid to
practice.
practice. So we are here to try and sort of level best to make sure that the children come in.
But sir, you're an exception to the general rule then. Alhamdulillah, may Allah keep you like this. May, you know, Allah Ta'ala is masjid ko abad kare. But you are an exception. Most masjids, actually, I'm not from England, so I'm not going to come, but in America, masjids do Pakistanis. They frown upon, you know, any extracurricular. Which means extracurricular means other than the prayer, please don't do anything. So that does come from some root. It is rooting from something. But in Scotland, there are nightclubs in masjids. Kids are spending nights from Isha to Fajr, kids only. Mommies come to, of course, and then they connect. That's what they're calling nightclubs. And I love this idea. On the weekends, you know, there are games going on for kids in the masjids, and what better place to be than the masjid?
Can I just make an announcement? There's a black Mercedes KM69 blocking the way out.
KM69, I wish it were mine, it's not.
Mercedes. If there's anybody here who's Muslim, apologies.
No, sorry. So, yes.
I have a question on brother बोल रहे हैं यहाँ पे actually काफ़ी activities होती हैं weekly basis पे weekend
मस्जिद में
particularly but मुझे थोड़ी सी disappointment हुई आज क्योंकि ये मस्जिद usually full होती है जब भी कोई activity announce होती है यहाँ पे sometimes फजर में breakfast sessions होते हैं and the masjid is full and there and I don't know ये discourage किया गया somehow क्योंकि usually it's full and now we haven't seen much attendance.
No, but we can't assume.
Yeah, I don't know. But another thing is कि इस टाइम हम जहाँ बैठे हैं यहाँ पे मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी से एरिया में बहुत ज़्यादा है इसी वजह से शायद यहाँ अटेंडेंस भी बहुत ज़्यादा है लोगों की ड्यूरिंग नमाज या कोई भी अदर सेशन है फीमेल्स के किड्स के लिए
नहीं, but असर की नमाज मैंने भी जमात से पढ़ी है. It's not that much.
बट मोस्टली यहाँ पे काफ़ी रश होता है और वेलकम होती है another thing is कि
What's your question? I don't know. So why did people not show up here? Why did people not show up for this?
no it's just my comment.
You know, when there's a talk or a lecture, that's the lowest attendance of anything. Games bring out everybody.
It's another argument, but yeah. So my question from you is कि यहाँ पे बहुत सारे बच्चे हैं जो कि regularly मस्जिद जाते हैं 5 days a week for their Quran lessons. तो क्या आपका जो curriculum है
Quran?
Quran class में अभी Quran पढ़ने
Oh no, we teach Arabic. Don't worry about it. We can teach them Arabic. That's something. But I'm assuming Arabic Masjid teaches Arabic to kids. So I don't volunteer for that. If it's not, we can. The biggest faculty I have is for Arabic. They would love to train, you know, because that's just twice a week, right? So that's not even a burden on our rosters.
क्योंकि बच्चे already attend कर रहे हैं वो 5 days a week.
See, if there are thousands of kids coming together on a single screen, they'll learn Arabic in seconds. I'm not, you know, generally speaking. So for a 2-year program, it'll come to 3 months because then they'll be speaking. Language is learned through speaking. You can't just attend a lecture for a language and learn how to speak a language. Language is trained by the ears and practiced by the tongue. So you need to understand if kids are in a physical campus, they learn Arabic so quickly. And my teachers will have a ball with them because, you know, because we're an online institute. So we get slower results. Alhamdulillah, we get amazing results, but it takes a lot of toll by the parents to make kids practice at home, and you know, kids have to be aligned with the teacher as well. You know, there's so many things that can go wrong. But with physical campuses, Arabic is trained, you know, magnificently well. Yes, so you were answering.
No, I was just going to answer the previous question?
Yes, sir, that's, yeah.
There has been, in the previous committees, there was only namaz, prayer facility, and that's it, nothing more. We are trying to, this building is totally dedicated to community aspects and education aspects. And we are trying our level best to get the education side more and more. So hopefully next 2 to 3 years we will have at least feeling like a proper school.
Inshallah. So let me give you a little vision on this, because see, now you know why that assumption also comes into that, masjid is not going to allow, because there has some sort of reason behind it. But now the vision is changing. I want you to imagine a girl, 16-year-old girl or a 17-year-old boy going to Toronto or Vancouver in a masjid, from your masjid, to hold a conference where he is going to deliver a lecture on some equation he's working on from the Quran. And I want all of Canada dying to be there, because it's not just a Muslim masjid holding a session, but that equation is so valuable for the physicists or the mathematicians or the political scientists, for that matter. Credibility of the boy and the work should speak. My job is to make sure, just like your mommies and daddies, my job is to make sure these kids are projected and they gain confidence and they get exposure. So if my son has to travel around the world or the country to present his work naturally goes up on quality, because he's going to get exposure and feedback. He can't just, earn that sort of, acclamation because he's got a lot of people loving him. No, that's not how mathematics or sciences work. That's not how political science works. That's not how credibility works. If I have that kind of a platform, which I already do, I can actually project these kids so that their work can inspire other people on the basis of their credibility. Then we do not need Nobel Prizes. You know what we need? We need inspirations flowing through, and our kids would become representative, like the Chinese. I'll give you an example. Everybody in the hall knows the Chinese as mathematicians, geniuses of mathematics. Even though not every Chinaman is a mathematician, right? But the brand became because of the performance of so many. And they're not in millions, they're in hundreds and thousands only. But now every Chinese has this little brand image that, you know what, I'm a genius of mathematics. I was trained on the abacus when I was 3. And then, if Muslims have enough platform, now even on social media, all the Muslim impression is going to change. Because we'll be talking mathematics, we'll be talking physics, we'll be talking policy and law. Policy and law is part of politics. And if they can present why they want some certain law changed, that's the start of not just a lobby, that's the start of a revolution, a mind revolution for all of the people in the world. We are being revolutionized by people in literally YouTube videos. We are being revolutionized, but they're not Muslims. They're not from masjid programs. They're not kids, they're old folks. They're saying the right things. They didn't learn it from the Quran. I want our kids to learn it from the Quran. And I'll present it to the world. Don't worry, alhamdulillah, I have the big enough channel. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I'm running short on time.
No, can we have question answer session?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm having. That's why I'm trying to answer this. Okay, yes, more questions? So I just need you to go home with that vision, that a boy from your house is demanded because of his work by not just Muslims, but non-Muslim, and he's actually presenting the Quran that, you know what, I got it from the Quran. I want some space program to go up there and regret that, you know what, this is exactly what the Muslims were talking about from their book, and now we find it in some mission. And we have to go back and listen to them because they're saying the right things. We just didn't take them seriously, because right now I know Muslims are not supposed to be I wouldn't take a Muslim seriously. But our kids shouldn't be inheriting that burden. We have to train our kids now. Inshallah we will. Yes, who's holding on to a question?
I had a fun fact in case people didn't know about it. They're already suspecting the ninth planet. They're going to call it Planet 9 because of the behavior of Neptune and Uranus.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to start. Yeah, it was a spoiler. Yeah, it was a
I just
spoiler.
thought I'd mention it.
Yeah, but that's 9. Okay, and then there's another one that coming from the other direction. It's vertical. It's perpendicular to the solar system. That's why these people get challenged a lot. But everybody got challenged. Even Newton got challenged. Okay, so our kids are going to be challenged a lot. That's why they need to be very good at mathematics and physics before they present, very good at policy and law before they present, very good at economics before they present their business idea as well. You know?
So when are we thinking of starting this program?
We've already started because these programs, why they don't start is because lack of faculty. That's the first thing Allah Azza wa Jal gave me. My current source code, the school, the curriculum is written by professors, Muslims, who actually called me in Indonesia because of whatever reach that I was getting. And they said, you know what, we've done the curriculum, we've done the math. And we are sought out by the energy sector because, they're going to kill us because energy, you know how these mobs work. Energy sector means the petroleum and the fossil fuel companies. They're mobsters. They do not let anything else come into play because then, of course, their monopoly is gone. So instead of us going into business, we thought, we're going to train the next generation. And who better than a guy whose head we can actually bargain. And I said, okay, let it be my head. What do you got? So he said, okay, you are going to open a school. We're going to give you the curriculum for mathematics. That's going to beat the current standards of PhDs and whatever. It's going to be less than, 2 or 3 years. And you can train them on the natural sciences. And I said, if you can give me natural sciences, I know where to get social sciences from because I am from social sciences. I know where the right geniuses are. So they gave me mathematics, they gave me physics, they gave me biology and chemistry. The curriculum, they designed it, okay? The heads of faculties in Berkeley, they're heads of faculty in Humber. So there's so many people. So social sciences, I knew. I was trained by the best psychologists in North America. I knew I can get their help. And I know the fact that political science is not a subject, it's a force, okay? So you need to make sure how to get children together to practice political science. To understand is just education, it's not training. But to practice it, you need a lobby. You need a lot of people to come together to practice the politics of it. So I'm not going to bore you with the details. However, if there were not enough number of kids, I cannot give them practicals, the projects for social sciences. If there are enough number of kids, they'll be perfecting social sciences because we need enough reach from all over the planet to run any kind of research or any kind of paper to be written requires that research. For that research, you have to have enough sample. For you to have enough sample, you have to have enough places on geography. So for example, any article or any book of anthropology or sociology or political science or psychology, it cannot be accredited. Even an article is not going to get accredited unless, of course, it's coming from experiments or validations coming from different parts of the world. Their bodies in different parts of the world. They accredited the paper. They accredit the paper. And unless this peer review is done from every part of the world and certain key parts of the world, they're not going to let you publish it. So I know how the racket works, and it's a good racket. It's for quality and standards. So if we have Australia, we have Europe, we have America, we have England, we already have the locations. We can get all of that circulated. Our job is to make sure our kids are writing it, and they're writing the right things, and they're doing the right research. That's job 2. First job, get them to believe that yes, you know what, they want to do this. Yes. Who's raising the hand? Yes, sir.
There's a very high-profile case regarding a scientist in America, Dr. Adeem.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that?
My opinion on the case? That's a political science subject. It's not my opinion. I know facts about that case. So unless we have a real lobby of Muslims, there's going to be millions of Afia Siddiquis in millions of jails based on a lot of things. We're asking for trouble ourselves. Okay? And you know what? Afia Siddiqui is a case, not just a case study. I'm very close to that case. I think it is a litmus test. This girl has become a litmus test. In other words, it's called in psychology herd immunity. We are now immune. We don't even get affected that one of my daughters is in an 83-year imprisonment, and it's way more than 83 years, but 83 years is the least she's going to have to serve, and she's not going to survive, obviously. So I've spoken to her sister a lot. I've spoken to many people who can do something about it. And you know what the answer is every time they give me? We don't have enough power. Money we have, power we don't. And it can be done. No one's saying it cannot be done. Even, Chuck Schumer said it can be done. Even Chuck Schumer said, okay, bargain her out. You know who Chuck Schumer is? The senator in America behind Israel, the main force, okay? So he said, okay, bargain her out. Sell her. That's what he said. Sell her. You know what selling means? You give me something we need. So sell her. So can we buy her? Well, we don't need to pay for it through money. We need to have enough lobby, enough influential Muslims coming together to make sure not only that she becomes a statement that no Muslim will be touched, but also no Muslim can be even looked at. Afia Siddiqui is one of the many Muslims, because Muslims do not have enough power. I'll give you an example. The Taliban, when they were negotiating the Doha Accords, you know what the Doha Accords are? The Americans met the Taliban in Qatar twice in 5 years. So in the first Doha Accord, you know what the Taliban asked for? The first thing? Afia Siddiqui. You know what the second Doha Accords happened? You know what the first thing they asked for? Afia Siddiqui. You know what? America was inside Afghanistan, and Afghanistan was apparently losing, obviously, but they were showing. And 47 countries were fighting Afghanistan. And the oppressed Afghanis, they went to the negotiation table, and you know what the first thing they say to the oppressor? We want our girl back. If you want us to stop killing you, give us our daughter. Now, they're being killed. 47 countries are inside your country, and they are demanding a girl. I'll tell you why I'm telling you this story, because this is true story. You can Google it up, you'll find out. 19 things they asked for. 19 things America was negotiating. Taliban was obviously putting their side. The first thing Taliban was negotiating with Afia Siddiqui. And that's not a Pakistani girl. That's not an Afghani girl, that's a Pakistani girl. So what I'm saying is, if Taliban were not Taliban and they were a lobby, if we were global Muslims, we won't need Talibans to go and negotiate in Doha about a Muslim girl. You know what I'm saying? Because same thing happened with a boy called Davis. Mr. Davis was caught in Pakistan. That's not even a girl, that's a boy, right? And he actually did kill 7 of Pakistanis. And you know what? What happened after that? In 72 hours, a lobby got him out. And I'm saying good job to America for doing that. That's what honorable people do to their people, right? To their brothers. We don't do it. We want to. We can't. We can't because we do not have enough politics, enough people coming together from every country in the world. It's not just English Muslims I need. I need every country in the world to come and make a lobby. And lobby is not just, right people thinking right, money, businessmen, politicians. No. We would need the brains. That's why I said 4 capitals. Mental capital before political capital. Financial capital after political capital. And way before that, the moral capital. The right Muslims have to be trained to the Seerah and the Quran so they would know why they're doing it. They're not here to become celebrities. They're not here to make, big houses and, Ferraris and Lamborghinis. No. They're here to make sure, the Quran becomes the first book to be presented in the right way that the Sahabas are presenting. Everyone in the world went to Arabia in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Mass immigration happened towards Arabia. Why? Because Muslims were actually inviting towards education, but they weren't the most attractive human beings. They were inviting towards IQ. Prosperity comes after IQ. So, sir, Afia Siddiqui, That's the solution to these kind of problems. Every child coming together. 3 days ago, a girl in London, she was working on the paper on this program. She said, I need a name of this program. And I said, Hayyal Fly is the best name. And she said, no, I need a name. And she came up with the name Muslim Kids United. And I said, no, you can run that program for kids. I'm not going to call these adults kids now. If I start calling them kids, they're never going to come into power. Okay? So she's going to run a program only for kids to come together, which we're inshallah going to start actually pretty soon. But this is not for little kids. This is for 12 plus. So that, plus what 25-year-olds go to school? Nobody, right? So they don't have that excuse that I've got school, I got whatever occupation on the Saturdays, Sundays. But 15 to 25 is my slice for many reasons.
हमारा क्वेश्चन, अगर मुझे यहाँ पे एक मदरसा है जो कि फीमेल ओनली है और उसमें बड़ी बच्चियाँ हैं GCSE लेवल की, अगर मुझे जाके उनसे बात करनी है और कन्विंस करना है to come on that program and start introducing it, does it have to be a masjid or it can be done in a madrasa?
No, it has to be a masjid. Madrasa is also masjid. Do they pray there?
हाँ जी.
No, there's a masjid.
लेकिन वो लड़कियों के लिए सिर्फ एज अ मदरसा वर्क करता है,
That's good.
मर्दों के लिए एज अ मस्जिद भी वर्क करता है. तो
No, if girls are, only girls are going there, that's awesome for me, Only girls.
if I'm going
See, every campus will be connected online through a faculty. It's like a school with, teachers training and giving little tasks, bigger tasks, projects. So it doesn't matter whether it's a madrasa or a masjid.
अगर मैं वहाँ जाती हूँ and I introduce your program, what should I be talking about?
I just gave you 3 hours of what you'll be talking about.
No, I got you what you're saying, but वहाँ जाके उनको show करना है curriculum और उनको
Yeah, I'll send you the paper. But vision दें उनको. Paper वो बाद में मांगेंगे. पहले, see, problem is not going to, anyone who's going to read the paper is not going to agree to it. They'll be like, okay, why? I know what, I know your how, but why? So you need to be the ambassador of vision. The ambassador of vision. And I didn't say anything new. You want all of these things for your kids anyway. Who doesn't want a 150 IQ for the child? No, everybody does. And I'm telling you, I cannot promise education scholarship to Cambridge now. I do not have the money right now. But I know this lobby is going to generate its own money. I know. Through businesses, not through donations. I know that. That's exactly how things work. You all seen Shark Tank? How do you think these sharks make money? They invest in new businesses which they prosper on their own, and they only take 1 or 2% equity out of it, and they become billionaires. I'm talking about 20,000 kids. You know what that means? I'll tell you what this means. You should know what it means. Assume that these 20,000 kids are coming together and in a single program. Muslim or not, every big businessman is going to approach the masjid. You have 20,000 kids every day. I need you to sponsor my product there. I'll sponsor my product in there. I'll sponsor my service in there. Business is going to come to them because I know what business is, how businesses think. I am a businessman. I know how economy works. I know how wealth is generated. 200, 300,000 people coming in. You know what? You open an app with a subscription of just 10,000 people, subscription. And you can get a venture capitalist putting money on there. That's the power of people coming together. They know, money people, money men, these businessmen know the worth of so many people coming together. Plus they're talking about entrepreneurial products themselves. This is an Amazon on its own. You need to see, since you're not into business, that's why I'm assuming you're not really jumping into, otherwise your eyes should be twinkling right now. I mean, this is such a big opportunity. You know what Amazon is, right? England में है Amazon, ना? Jeff Bezos. You know what it is? It's a lobby of businessmen coming together. He does not have a single shop. Not a single shop. The richest man in the world does not own a single shop. Because they all came together. And not even in a masjid, not even for Allah, only for his own big house and his wife, who by the way divorced and took half of it. We're actually doing this for a bigger reason. मैं आपको फिर बता दूं, 5 मिनट आखिरत का सोचना है रोज़ सुबह, आपको पता चलेगा। अपने बच्चे नहीं पोते भी दे देने आपने इस प्रोग्राम में इंशाल्लाह। जी, यू हैड अ क्वेश्चन, सॉरी।
Sir, it's very good to hear about like a slice for 15 to 25, but my question is like, is it possible to do something for another slice, like from 25 to onwards 40? Like there are some people who are struggling for academia. They're just trying to have some good position in academia, or maybe some people are just struggling with they are trying to make some company.
Yeah. These kids, oh, they're going to invite everybody who has this sort of. See, if I give them the right sense, they'll be getting everyone in Newcastle in the masjid. मुझे बस ये स्लाइस दें, इन्होंने सब कस दे। एंटरप्रेन्योर होता कौन है, आप ज़रा समझ नहीं रहे हैं असल में, क्योंकि नॉट एंटरप्रेन्योर्स, दे विल नीड टू ओन द सिटी। बहरहाल अभी चूँकि आपको पता नहीं है कि उनकी बिजनेस सेंस की ये रिक्वायरमेंट है जो आपने कहा है, बट this program, for it to become an ecosystem, कि शादी से पहले ही लोगों के विजन क्लियर हों, लड़के और लड़की के, कि भाई हमारा इस्लाम में मकसद क्या है। तो ये वो वाले लड़कों और लड़कियों को भी इनवाइट कर रहा हो कि भाई एक मिनट रुक जाओ, अपने जैसा एक और ना पैदा कर लेना, पहले ठीक हो जाओ, और उसके बाद तुम्हारे जितने बच्चे होंगे उतने इस्लाम को फ़ायदा हो रहा होगा। सो ये प्रोग्राम उस इकोसिस्टम के अंदर इस तरह के भी लोग होने ज़रूरी हैं कि जिन्होंने भी शादी भी नहीं की और उनको भी लाया जाए। वो वाले बुजुर्गान ज़रूरी हैं जो घर में माहौल को डिक्टेट और पॉलिसी रखते हैं, जिनकी यू नो द फादर्स ऑफ द फैमिलीज हु नॉट 25, देयर 55, दे बी पार्ट ऑफ द प्रोग्राम, दे बेटर बी अटेंडिंग दिस, कि भाई ये तो हमें कई सदियों पहले करना शुरू चाहिए था, 600-700 साल पहले करना चाहिए था, और उसमें मेरा रोल क्या है। अब ये रोल तो सबके लगेंगे, बट दिस इकोसिस्टम विल डेवलप ओनली इफ द चाइल्ड इज परफॉर्मिंग। एंड यू राइट, अभी भी स्टार्ट किया जा सकता है, सच बताऊं अभी किया जा सकता है, बट ना मेरे पास रियल एस्टेट इतनी है जो मस्जिद में इतने सारे प्रोग्राम एक ही वक्त में चल रहे हों। मस्जिद के पास भी नहीं है, मेरे पास भी नहीं है, ना ही मेरे पास फैकल्टी है कि जो हर वक्त काउंसलिंग एंड ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम्स फॉर वीमेन ओनली, मैन ओनली, 35+ बिजनेस प्रोग्राम्स और पर्सनल इश्यूज़, पर्सनल डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम्स, ये भी कर रहे होने चाहिए। अल्लाह करे मस्जिदों में हर वक्त ये चलता रहे। मैं हमेशा से ये पहले दिन से कहता रहा हूँ कि अल्लाह ने ना, अल्लाह के यहाँ कोई तुक्के नहीं है। मस्जिदें जो इतनी हमें मिल गई हैं ना, ये असल में मैं आपको बता नहीं सकता हूँ कि इसका कितना सवाल हो जाए हमसे, कि हमारे पास करोड़ों एकड़ की रियल एस्टेट पड़ी हुई है खाली, और हम छोटी छोटी खोलियों में बैठ के अपनी लाइफ गुजार रही हैं, और अल्लाह हमें बुलाई जा रहा है मस्जिद में आओ। हमारी औरतें हर वक्त मस्जिद में होनी चाहिए थी, देर ऑल ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम शुड हैव बीन सॉल्व। हमारे मर्द हर वक्त मस्जिद में होने चाहिए थे, 90% प्रॉब्लम होने ही नहीं थे अगर हम कल्चर ही मस्जिद के थ्रू क्रिएट करते। इंग्लैंड में पाकिस्तानी आते, सबसे पहले मस्जिदें ढूंढ रहे होते, मगर कभी भी नहीं होता। सबसे पहले हमें ही पता हम क्या ढूंढ रहे होते ना, कि कहाँ रहना है, सबसे सस्ती जगह किधर है। मस्जिद ने हमें उस तरीके से क्यों नहीं फैसिलिटेट किया, क्योंकि हमने मस्जिद इसलिए बनाई नहीं कभी। मस्जिद इज़ नॉट अ लिविंग बॉडी, ह्यूमन बींग्स आर अ लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म। सो यू शुड नो, इस मस्जिद को नहीं, हर मस्जिद को जिस तरह मस्जिद नबवी ट्रीट करते थे ना अल्लाह के नबी सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम और सहाबी, उसी तरीके से हर मस्जिद ट्रीट होनी चाहिए। मस्जिद असल में इस्लाम में पुलिस स्टेशन भी है, मस्जिद असल में कचहरी भी है। हमने छोड़ा ही नहीं उसका ये काम, वरना कोर्ट और पुलिस की ज़रूरत ही ना रहे। 90% मसाइल पाकिस्तानी इधर ही करें। ऑस्ट्रेलिया में एक शहर है, आई एम अस्यूमिंग इंग्लैंड में भी होगा, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में एक शहर है जहाँ यहूदी सिनेगॉग जाते हैं, एक भी केस पुलिस स्टेशन नहीं जा सकता। और जब सिनेगॉग कहते हैं ना इसको पनिशमेंट दो, लॉयर आता है, यहूदी लॉयर, वो केस तैयार करता है, कोर्ट में फैसला हो चुका है यहूदियों का, उसके बाद वो केस पुलिस में जाता है, यहाँ इसको आप शुरू से स्टार्ट करो, बिकॉज नाउ वी फाइंड हिम गिल्टी। बाय द वे, मैं क्या बातें कर रहा हूँ, गेट सेट तो ये कम्युनिटी ऐसी है जहाँ पे पुलिस का इंटर होना भी औखा है, क्योंकि इनके अपने जिरगे हैं। गेट सेट में यहूदियों का अपना जिरगा है, वो बाय द तोरा फैसला करते हैं इधर। उनको पता है इंग्लैंड की अदालतों ने तोरा से तो फैसला करना ही नहीं है। ये मुझे पता कैसे पता चलता गेट सेट का, मेलबर्न में, सिडनी में वो कम्युनिटी बाय द वे जिसकी मैं बात कर रहा था अभी, सिडनी वालों ने बताया था। इंग्लैंड में एक शहर है जहाँ पे यहूदी सारे रहते हैं और फैसला अपना तहत से करते हैं, और मैं उस शहर में खड़ा हूँ। इमेजिन दैट। सो ये आपकी जो बात है ना, असल में अल्लाह ताला ने मस्जिद इसीलिए हमें तोहफा में दी थी। हमने तोहफा खुद ज़मीन पे फेंका हुआ है, मस्जिद तो अल्लाह ने हमें, खुद सोचे ना, जितनी मर्जी खाली सफ़े हों मस्जिदें फिर भी बनी जा रही हैं। जितने मर्जी मुसलमान गरीब हों, 1% बॉटम हो, मगर मस्जिदें बनी हुई हैं। अल्लाह ताला हमें दे ही जा रहे हैं, हम इस्तेमाल कर ही नहीं रहे उसको। वी better own up to our masjids now. Send our kids there. Make sure our kids are always in the masjid. And how? देखें, घर में भी तो बच्चा हमने ही रखा होता है ना, अल्लाह के घर में भी हम ही रख सकते हैं बच्चा। इतनी कोई रॉकेट साइंस नहीं है, हम खुद ही नहीं चाहते कि हमारे बच्चे मस्जिद जाएं। सच्ची बात तो ये है, क्योंकि वो मोल्ड जिसकी मैं बात कर रहा हूँ, दैट मोल्ड इज अ लिटिल टू क्रिस्प, इट्स गोना ब्रेक आवर टीथ। That's going to break our teeth. That is going to get a little too crispy. We've toasted our kids. Okay, so love of the masjid comes from the house. Love of the masjid does not come from the Maulvi Sahib. It comes from the house. So, आपके बच्चे मस्जिद नहीं आ रहे, आपका कसूर है। बच्चों का ना कसूर है ना मौलवी साहब का कसूर है। ठीक है, I know the Maulvi Sahib is not the most attractive person in the Muslim community as well, because he does not know the geography and the sociology of whatever is going on, but हमारे बच्चे क्यों नहीं मौलवी बन रहे फिर? या तो हम अपने बच्चों को मौलवी बनाए ना, वो भी नहीं बनाना और उसको भी ब्लेम करना, ऐसे तो नहीं होगा ना काम। वो भी वो वाला काम कर रहा है जो हमारे बच्चे नहीं करना चाहते। शेम ऑन अस कि अल्लाह का काम वो कर रहा है, हमारे बच्चे करना भी चाहते और क्रिटिसाइज हम उसको कर रहे हैं। दैट्स नॉट ऑन, दैट्स जुल्म एक्चुअली। इस्लाम की नस में ये जुल्म है कि आप खुद तो करना नहीं चाहते और जो कर रहा है उसको आपने पूरी तरह ताब बनाना है। तो या तो आप मौलवी बनाएं और कहें भाई ऐसा होता है मौलवी, तो मस्जिद के यहाँ दें। हम तो वेट करते, हम तो जॉब के लिए एप्लीकेशन वर्कऑपोलिस पे डाल रहे थे, whatever you call it here, what is it, Indeed पे डाल रहे थे। So your child should be holding the azan, sorry, the prayer. Gee, anything else? Anybody? So before I go, because this probably is my last visit to the north. Well, no, Scotland is north, but Scotland is a different country. Yeah, so I would just want to thank you, sir, all of you guys for coming. I thank you for the Masjid committee for having a guy who talks like me in their house. And thank you, ma'am, for doing whatever you can. Allah Ta'ala आपको अजर दे इस बात का, Allah Ta'ala कबूल करे हम सब की ये काविश। And make sure उस बच्चे को नहीं भूलना आपने, जिस बच्चे का विजन मैंने दिया कि वो बच्चा गैर मुस्लिम ख़रीद लेंगे हमसे, मैं बता दूँ काम का वो, और मुसलमान उसको बना ही नहीं रहे, मुसलमान उसको ले ही नहीं रहे, उसको ओन ही नहीं कर रहे, क्योंकि उनके बच्चे पैरों में नहीं पैदा होते, सींग नहीं लगे होते, पीछे उनके कोई सफ़ेद रंग की छोटी सी नर्स काटती नहीं है कि तो यहूदियों का बच्चा पैदा हो, पर काट दो, ऐसा नहीं होता। अल्लाह ताला, अल्लाह के नबी सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने इरशाद फरमाया कि हर बच्चा अल्लाह की अपनी फितरत से पैदा होता है। अब माँ बाप हैं उसके जो उसको या यहूदियत के ले जाते या नसरानी बना देते। सो इट इज़ अस हु इज़ रूनिंग आवर किड्स एंड इट इज़ ओनली अस हु कैन सेव इट। नाउ आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड वेदर यू, इफ अगर आखिरत ना होती तब भी अल्लाह की कसम मैं यही लेक्चर देता आपको, अल्लाह की कसम यही लेक्चर देता आपको आके, अगर आखिरत ना आनी होती तो, कि दुनिया में तो कुछ कर लो मगर अल्लाह की कसम आखिरत आनी है। इसलिए आपको बता रहा हूँ कि दुनिया में भी कुछ करना है और आखिरत में भी कुछ करना है, काम वही है, तरीका वही है। अल्लाह के नबी सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने इरशाद फरमाया कि बदकिस्मत वो नहीं है कि जिसको आखिरत नहीं मिली, बदकिस्मत वो ना जिसको दुनिया मिली ना आखिरत। समझ रहे हैं? इसका मतलब ये था कि आखिरत का रास्ता दुनिया में से था, दुनिया फतह करनी थी तो आखिरत फतह होनी थी। हमने दुनिया ही नहीं फतह की, नीचे पिस के आखिरत में नहीं तबाह हो गए। मेरे एक पाकिस्तान में एक सेशन कर रहा था तो एक बंदा मुझे कहता है तो इसका मतलब है अल्लाह के नबी सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम कह रहे हैं दुनिया बनाओ। सोचें ज़रा, दुनिया का इतना शौक हो गया कि हदीस, इस वईद वाली हदीस में से भी उसने दुनिया निकाल ली कि बदकिस्मत वो नहीं है जिसको आखिरत नहीं मिली, बल्कि बदकिस्मत तो वो जिसको दुनिया भी नहीं मिली और आखिरत भी नहीं। हम इतने डिज़ाइन में आ चुके हैं, उस मोल्ड इतना पक्का कर लिया कि दुनिया बस सो बन जाए, अच्छी बात है, आपको दुनिया चाहिए। मैंने आपसे कहा अगर आखिरत ना भी आनी होती तब भी मेंटल कैपिटल, पॉलिटिकल कैपिटल और फाइनेंशियल कैपिटल तो फिर भी चाहिए हमें।
Just to be sure, so the chunk that you're picking is 15 to 25.
No, you can give me a 12-year-old who's ahead of the game, yeah.
And someone who's older, let's say less than 30, can also participate.
Yeah, of course he can. A 50-year-old guy can participate as well. But 15 to 35 के लिए projects जो design हुए हैं ना, he'll know, yeah, he can do it. Yeah, because if he has enough time and energy to yeah, of course. देखिए मेरे जो मैथ्स का प्रोग्राम है ना वो 4 साल का है. 0 + 1 = 1 से स्टार्ट होता है. 4 साल में वो गॉसियन इक्वेशन कर रहा होता है इंशाल्लाह. तो अभी 4 साल तो नहीं, अभी तो पहला साल है. मगर उस प्रोग्राम में पता है कितने एडल्ट्स हैं? 64-year-old वुमन, 70-year-old मैन, 50-year-old की लिस्ट है, 30-year-old. People want to do that in their program. प्रोग्राम के करिकुलम ठीक हो, पर्पस क्लियर हो तो लोग अट्रैक्ट खुद ही हो जाते होते हैं. ऐसे ही होता है. Everyone who sold a good product, the whole neighborhood came to buy, right? It's just like that. The product should sell itself. जी yes ma'am.
मैंने आपको बस अस्सलाम वालेकुम कहना है.
वालेकुम सलाम.
मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करनी है कि मेरी बेटी है तो आपने मेरे लिए दुआ करना है कि मैं इस्लामिक जिस विजन का आप चाइल्ड कहते हैं ना मैं इसे रेज कर सकूं. मैं आपकी टॉक सुनती रहती हूँ यूट्यूब पे, तो मैंने इसे मस्जिद में भेजना शुरू कर दिया हुआ है.
कौन सी मस्जिद?
इसी में आती है.
क्या करते हैं मस्जिद में?
ये कुरान की हिफाजत कर रही है.
ओके
तो मैंने इसके लिए आपसे दुआ करवानी थी क्योंकि मैंने आपकी टॉक से सुनी थी.
अल्लाह ताला आपकी बच्ची को और मेरी बच्चियों को जन्नत में इकट्ठा करे और असली मकसद पे इकट्ठा करे. और दुनिया में भी अल्लाह ताला हमारी बच्चियों को इकट्ठा कर देना. हम दुनिया में नहीं इकट्ठा करवाते, ठीक है. तो अल्लाह ताला हम सबको वो वाले सेंस दे जो अल्लाह के नबी सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने सहाबा को दी थी कि दुनिया को देखना कैसे है ताकि इसके अंदर से जन्नत के रास्ते नज़र आ जाएं हमें. क्योंकि जन्नत के रास्ते दुनिया में से ही हैं. हाँ, खला में से तो नहीं है कि वहाँ पे फला वाला सियारा क्यों नहीं फ़तह किया हमने दुनिया ही फ़तह करनी है. अगर दुनिया नहीं फ़तह करेंगे जो सहाबा ने करके दिखाई, ठीक है. अभी तक अपने बच्चों के नाम उमर रख रहे हैं हम, अभी तक अली रख रहे हैं, अभी तक अबू बकर रख रहे हैं. ऐसा इलस्ट्रियस करियर, ऐसी इज़्ज़त अल्लाह ताला ने उनको अता की है. परफॉर्मेंस थी तो अता की है ना.
और दूसरी रिक्वेस्ट है, मेरी सिस्टर आई थी लेकिन वो ना उसकी तबीयत नहीं ठीक थी, वो बैठ नहीं सकती, वो भी कार में वेट कर रही है.
किसका?
मेरा ही वेट कर रही है.
तो जाए ना.
नहीं तो वो
I'm kidding.
लेकिन वो आ नहीं पाई.
आप अल्लाह ताला आपकी ज़बान कबूल करे कि आप समझती हैं मेरी हर दुआ कबूल होती है.
मेरे ख्याल में जो भी
अल्लाह ताला आप भी मेरे लिए दुआ करें ना. जी ज़रूर, आमीन. मेरी अल्लाह करे, मैं तो चाहता हूँ कि आपकी बात दुरुस्त हो. मायने मेरी अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह हर दुआ कबूल होती है, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह. बचपन से याद रखिएगा, मैं पीर साहब नहीं हूँ, मैं वैसे बता रहा हूँ कि दुआ आपने नाम लेके मेरे लिए करनी है, मेरे बच्चों के लिए भी करनी है, अपने हम सब बच्चों के लिए करनी है. जब तक हम अजिर नहीं बोलते रहेंगे हम कैंसर का शिकार हैं, याद रखिएगा. अब वक्त आ गया है अजिरना का. समझ रहे हैं फ़र्क? पता ना. आप जब तक इनकी बच्चों के लिए भी आप दुआ नहीं कर रही तब तक काम नहीं होने वाला. ये अजिरनी के टाइम पता कब थे? जब पूरी कौम साहबा ने इकट्ठी कर ली हुई थी. अब हम बिखर चुके हुए, अब हमें सबको पकड़ना पड़ेगा. और अगर आपको नाम ही नहीं पता अगले बच्चे के, आपने क्या खाक दुआ करनी है उसके लिए? मैंने आपको आते ही कहा था ना कि हम झूठ बोल रहे हैं अल्लाह की कसम कि हमें अपने नबी से प्यार है. जिससे प्यार होता है उसका सब कुछ पता होता है. हमें तो कुछ भी नहीं पता कि आपको, मुझे तो यही नहीं पता. आपको पता है इनका, ये आपके न्यूकैसल की ख़वातीन देखी हुई पहले आपने? सिर्फ 2 को, ठीक है. सोचें तो सही, ये मसला है ना. तो अजिर ना करने के लिए फिर वो ओन भी करनी पड़ती है ना कम्युनिटी. अजिर ना का मतलब हम है ना, हमें बचा अजिर ना, ठीक है. सो जब तक हम की दुआएं नहीं करेंगे तब तक हमारे बच्चे जो है ना परफॉर्म नहीं करेंगे. अभी बता दूं. आमीन. बाय द वे रब्बी ज़िदनी इल्मा की दुआ यहूदियों के पास भी है और मांगते हैं. हमने रब्बी ज़िदनी रिज़्क़ा शुरू कर दिया हुआ है. इल्मा की तरफ आएंगे तो रिज़्क़ भी आ जाएगा. यहूदियों की सबसे कोर की दुआ है रब्बी ज़िदनी इल्मा. हमें अल्लाह ताला ने गिफ्ट के तौर पे दी थी और हमने उठा के रख दी है कहीं और ही, और पैसे मांगने शुरू कर दिए. तो पैसे उनके पास चले गए क्योंकि आमीन आमीन इंशाल्लाह. जी मेरा सलाम दीजिएगा उनको. ठीक है जी. सर यू वर सेइंग.
Sir, who do we contact for, I mean, moving forward if you want
Sir,
to
I am
if you want to come in yourself, what's the place that you're gonna call
the masjid.
connect to?
The masjid. I'll give you numbers, and our team, we are probably the most widely published and most social media active company. And IMS, Islamic Messaging System.com is our website for the movement. This is not part of IMS, this program. Hayyal al-Falah is a different program altogether. IMS is to raise the intellectual acumen of every Muslim and prepare them to psychological warfare and how it's done, okay? But this is a campaign for getting the political and, mental force together. So we have the IMS people who are going to utilize the masjids. So for you to enroll a child, there's no enrollment fee or anything, right? Yeah. So you need to get masjids to us right now. We need 3 things: parents, the child, and the masjid. Okay? 3 things have to be there. Otherwise, this program is not going to run. So for Newcastle, all the masjids, हमसे अगर न्यूकासल नहीं फतह होगा तो हम दुनिया को फतह करने की बात तो ना करें, वो भी अपने मुसलमान. So I know there are going to be problems. Not everyone's going to come together. But we need to make sure our strategy is right. We don't repulse people out. We attract people in. Okay? So you need to contact the masjids and then contact us. Or you have the kids, contact us कि बच्चे हैं, masjid नहीं है. बच्चे नहीं है, masjid है. You're an asset to this program then. अगर आपके पास दोनों हैं. So we'll publish the numbers. Ma'am Fatima has arranged this session, so we're going to contact her. Jameel Saab is sitting right there. He's my host here. So you can see कि जो भी आपको information चाहिए हो हम उनको दें, वो आपको दे दें. क्योंकि अभी वीडियो के ऊपर मैं नंबर भी लिख दूंगा जब आप वीडियो देखेंगे इसकी YouTube पे जब भी. अदरवाइज अभी मैं आपको जाते हुए टीम के नंबर भी देता हूँ. वो आमिर साहब खड़े हुए हमारे लंदन. ये दिस इज द मैन हु स्टैंडिंग, द बॉडी बिल्डर. So he's going to give you personal numbers of the team who is working on this as well. Sir, you were saying?
I just want to say thank you for coming to our masjid.
Oh, sir, thank you. The pleasure is mine. It is an honor, I swear.
We would like to thank you from the masjid side and the community of Newcastle.
Sir, thank you. I really appreciate it.
And before you leave, you've got our microphone on your lap.
Got everybody's microphone.
So they got me. I've tried my best to, but see, you cannot steal from a Pakistani. I'm kidding. I'll take them off. I have, how many are there? 1, 2.
Just got a few. Once you finish, don't worry, I'll take them.
Yeah, there's a guy for this, don't worry. There's a team for this.
It works better with your coat on.
I know. I was thinking I'm done. Anybody else has anything to ask? Anything? Okay, well, thank you so much for your time and patience and for your kids. Make sure, whatever you do, don't forget the exercise of every morning for 5 minutes. It's gonna help everybody, especially our kids, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.